It's time for the Jay Foreman Postgame Show.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
Look to the left, and he kind of telegraphed it all the way. When the ball was tipped, Foreman's in the right spot.
Sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Tavern 180, Vinny Creekback of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical.
Here's Fuente dropping back, fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Black Shirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. It is the Jay Foreman Postgame Show, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Jay Foreman will be here in just a moment, per usual, as he makes his way over from Memorial Stadium. Nick Sainert with you, as we will be joined by Austin Norman to kick things off, as usual, here on the Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Before we get rolling, I want to thank our sponsors, Anderson Ford of Lincoln, State Farm, Vinny Creekback, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, Tavern 180, and Tanner's Bar and Grill. All right, Nebraska loses 27-20 as they fall to 5-4 on the season. They I think overall the easiest way to sum this one up, and there's a lot we will certainly dive into both with Jay and then obviously in the post-game show to follow with Chancellor Austin and potentially DP if he stops by. I think there's a lot to get to kind of just very surface level stuff here. Nebraska got into deep of a hole and couldn't get out of it. They didn't have the offense to do it. You started to see maybe get a little more of a rhythm on offense, but really not, because it was always clunky. It always felt like Nebraska just struggled immensely on offense the entire game. We've gotten a lot of texts here that's about please don't sugarcoat it. Please don't joke or, please don't sugarcoat the loss. Call it how it is. Talk about it how it is. I can promise you this. I have a lot of feelings on this one, and we can certainly get into them throughout the course of the next hour and a half or so. But first, Austin, Nebraska falls 27-20. What are your initial thoughts?
Yikes. A lot of yikes. Defense, not good early. Found its footing a little bit late, but they're still not finishing at the quarterback enough. Coverage is not sticky enough. Miscommunications, breakdowns on simple stuff on defense still. But even still, right, you only give up 20 points as a defense, right? They find a way to bow up in the red zone, force a couple of field goals. Mm-hmm. Offensively, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. It is coaching. It is players. It is everyone. It is everything. Oh, and even special teams, right? You didn't even give yourself a chance to go for the win because you shank an extra point. After all that work, Nick, this is atrocious. It's disappointing, as I think the softest way I can say it, on so many levels, on every level. You didn't do much, if anything, right consistently throughout the game. The numbers actually don't look as bad as the game probably was for Nebraska. They end up with more third down conversions. They have fewer penalty yards. They're closer in total yards than you would have thought when the game started. And they actually end up winning time of possession somehow, despite the way the first half went. But, oh my goodness, the coaching staff has questions to answer. The players have questions to answer. And I don't want to say it, but this is the first step down the road of here we go again.
With that being said, let's bring in Jay Foreman. Jay, initial thoughts on Nebraska's 27-20 loss to UCLA. By the way, you can chime in 402-464-5685 on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. We'll take your phone calls. We'll take your texts, as well as on the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Allo Channel 961. All right, Jay, floor is yours, my friend.
I mean, I guess I'm speechless, I guess. Disappointed and all the normal emotions or whatever. Now, granted, I'm not playing, so it's not life or death for me, but I'm a little bit speechless. Probably more disappointed and surprised, I guess. And obviously it's not at the magnitude of Indiana, but it was Indiana-ish, especially that first half with the defense, Man, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think I felt like UCLA wasn't the same team that started the season. Credit to them. And they had a bye week. And when you have a coach like Eric Bieniemy and the staff that they put together is a sneakily good staff, a lot of pro experience, a lot of college experience. You knew they were going to get we were going to get their best shot, especially coming off a kind of a emotional and a monumental victory for them last time they played, flying all the way, literally the farthest place that they could go across the country and beating Rutgers on the road. That's probably the same mantra that they were taking into this week. And so for me, if I was a player or a coach, I would have been imploring, like, we need to watch this Rutgers tape. This is who you're playing. Don't worry about the record, because the team that played against Rutgers was no joke.
But don't worry about the record is the exact point. UCLA is not the same team they were to start the year. They're getting better. Where is Nebraska getting better? Where is Nebraska getting better? Can we identify areas that Nebraska has improved, offense or defense, from the last bye week? You come home after a month away. The last time you were at home, you grinded one out against Rutgers. Bye week, 2 road games, and you finally get to come back home, clinch bowl eligibility in front of your fans, and you show up like that in the first quarter?
First half was not good. First half was not good. I think the difference between UCLA and Nebraska right now, when you talk about have you gotten better, I just think they consistently have gotten better. That offense has consistently gotten better. They ran the ball enough to kind of tease you a little bit, and they actually, and the quarterback killed you. But then the short area passing game is essentially the extension of the run game, and then they were able to hit a couple of explosive passes. I talked about 88. Homeboy's a really good looking tight end. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, the dude.
Hey, Bieniemy knows how to use a tight end.
Yeah,
Did that for 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, and so they made some good plays, but there were some plays that, especially in the first half, I just felt like the coverage was not very good.
Let's go right to the phone lines. We got a lot of phone calls here chiming in. Let's go right to the phone lines. Caller, here you are. Make sure that radio's down. What's your name? What's on your mind, my friend?
Hi. Yeah, this is Brady. I was just really puzzled about Rhule's decisions in the fourth quarter, especially the clock management down the stretch. It seems like there was no sense of urgency from the offense until Harvard came into the game late. And at that point, you're going to have to get the ball downfield, and your options are limited, because if you go to the middle of the field, you're losing time. And it seems like a complete level of incompetency to manage the clock. And I just leave you guys with that. Thanks.
I appreciate that, Brady. Jay, I actually believe that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I felt like towards the end stretch in that fourth quarter. Now, we talk about it so often, like so much is made about the 2-minute drill, and that's such a cliche reference and term.
Yeah,
but really,
that's old.
It's
old,
old,
like
right?
me.
Yeah, right. But more realistically, Austin and I were watching the game here, and it was like, okay, if Nebraska can score by the 7-minute mark, or I think I said the 6-minute mark, you feel good about their chances to get the ball back. But even before Dylan Raiola got hurt, it still did not feel like Nebraska, number one, had a plan, didn't know who they wanted to go with, didn't know where they wanted to go with the football, and they didn't have much urgency to get up to the line, because it felt like everything was so clunky that they didn't want to mess up.
Yeah, that's and that's what happens when you have a freshman quarterback. It's because he doesn't have experience doing it. I guess you can call plays, and you want to make sure things are certain. You want them to be clear, for a guy that's never played before, or obviously played at this level before for a whole season. I think the biggest thing is, they had when they. I think here's my opinion, and I don't know if you could do this all game. They looked so much better, and it's not tempo, because people think tempo where you're trying to snap the ball with 20-some seconds left. Mm-hmm. But I think if they're in between, slow it down in tempo. So when they started to kind of play with the urgencies, kind of like a soft, quote unquote, 2-minute drill, there's less mistakes, more efficiency. You ran the ball a little bit better, right?
Take also note of who was in. Because that's also where I looked at personnel.
Yeah.
And this is where I also made this comment to Austin of, there's different personnel when the game is on the line than when there was in the second quarter or in the first quarter or the first half as a whole. And that is puzzling to me. If those are the guys you trust the most when the game is on the line, why aren't they playing at the start of the game to get you going?
Yeah. I mean, who in particular are you talking about?
Emmett Johnson.
It's different because he's probably more effective as a kind of do it all back. Now listen, you do have a lot of credibility in your opinion. I think so too, but Dante was running it decent. But I do understand what you're saying. And whoever's in there, you got to try to really bottle that up and expand on that. I think that what other game, maybe a little bit Purdue when they kind of went up tempo, right? Is that right? Mm-hmm. Right? They went a little bit more up tempo.
Yeah.
A little bit at times against Illinois. I think that when they kind of went a little bit more up tempo, and I think that eliminates the guesswork for a young quarterback. I think it maybe probably lights a fire in our skill position guys that really get going. And then down the stretch, I mean, hindsight's 20/20. You like to think that, we could get it, could have got in there on when we were down there and we stalled out and on the fourth down play. It was just a clunky game. You talk about offense was clunky. It was clunky defensively, even though you you were drowning literally in that first half. And you found a way to kind of, tread water to get your head above water, kind of like gasping for air. And then you kind of were able to tread water and finish out the game. But, you probably would like to think the defense would have started a little bit more faster with some urgency, which then I think really, really punched the team. It was a team. I mean, it took the energy out of the state. I mean, the first drive was 9 minutes. I mean, that's that was, and it was. I mean,
Nebraska as a team ran 3 plays from the line of scrimmage in the first quarter.
Right, the first drive was 9 minutes, but it wasn't. There was no delay though. Mm-hmm. It was systematically like it was almost like I like to equate things to boxing. It was like, okay, we were jabbing, we hit you with a couple body blows, then we brought you back in, arrested you a little bit, then we got our first knockdown. Yeah. Then Nebraska was able to get back up. You got knocked back down again. And so right now, I think look, everybody's disappointed. We see the fans here; they're yelling at us like we play.
We should have called better plays. Jim.
Yeah, we should have. But I think here's what also has to really be addressed, and this is the honest to God truth. I will never get on here and talk about coaching moves. That's not. First of all, I don't get paid, but that's what they get paid to do, or whoever gets paid to do. But before all that is done, before that even seeps into your mind, the effort, execution, and more importantly, the discipline has to, and that has nothing to do with the coaches. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? You got to be the effort, execution, and discipline. All is individual, and then it's done collectively. And here's the difference: you have to operate individually, think collectively. And here's why I say that. The effort and execution go hand in hand. But the only way the effort and execution becomes efficient is if you have discipline, right? So here's a play that probably won't get a lot of text calling in, and we'll get to you right here. Then I'll get going. They ran like essentially a zone play, but then they bootlegged off it, and 88 caught it in the flat.
Yeah, simple option route decision for the quarterback.
Right, because it's just essentially like a half waggle.
Yeah.
But they motioned him over and he came back. Okay, he's wide open. That's discipline. That has nothing to do with the call. You're in man-to-man defense. Somebody had him leaving wide open. That's discipline. Then that has nothing to do with the defensive play call.
How much of that is route combos?
It's not
no
Nick,
scheming.
That's not a combination, Nick.
We
see that at UC, Chris. I mean,
you're right. No, you're right. That's I wanted you to say it because I think also here's the thing, Jay, is from a quarterback standpoint, it puts the quarterback in an easy spot. In that situation,
UCLA,
for UCLA, it put Garber in the easiest spot possible because it allowed him to either go, all right, you know what? If the linebacker takes the linebacker takes the tight end, then I'm going to run for it. If not, then I'm going to dump it off, and it's a simple pass.
Right. I mean, what it is using maybe your aggressiveness or your lack of discipline or eye discipline or coverage discipline or communication against you and keep you on your heels, right? And keep you guessing. And so the rhythm of their play calling, of their plays, right? In and out of, remember I talked about this on Old School with Austin during the week. And I talked about it on my Foreman 4. You got to be where your cleats are. What is that? One play at a time. You can't let one play boil into another. You can't be thinking about a play that you might have busted in the first quarter, and here you are 30, 40 plays later, and you haven't recovered yet, because they're going to play off of that. Now, you got to give credit to UCLA, man. They came in here focused, on fire, and efficient as heck right off the bus. They kicked our tail in the first half. So yeah, you're right. The play calling to do it, but that's what you want on the road. You want them to have easy throws, and then they got us with a couple QB scrambles. So you got to give them credit there. But ultimately, the coverage and the discipline, I don't think we were as good as we should have or could have in the beginning of the game, considering how we were. I think the first 2 drives that we had on offense was 6 plays, right? 3 and out twice.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So,
I believe your first 4 drives were 3 and out. If it wasn't for, you talk about discipline, if it wasn't for the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, UCLA committed 3 or 4 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties that allowed the drive to continue for Nebraska. Nebraska would have been in a much worse spot at the end of the first half.
Yeah, sure.
I said this on Twitter, actually. They would have been 9 total yards at halftime with 0 points, and Dylan Raiola would have been 1 for 8 with no yards passing, because the one completion would have been to Thomas Fidone that went for 0 yards. And Dante Dowdell, who was the starting running back, had 2 carries for 8 yards. If you take away the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that allowed the drive to keep going, and obviously that's all hypothetical, Nebraska's offense doesn't even look as good as it did in the first half, and it still looked bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, nobody really was like, you could say a couple guys played decent, but, like Ty Robinson and Jamari, but really it was just, look, we just got our butt kicked.
Yeah.
Should we take some calls?
Yeah, let's go back to the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. We got Danico first. Danico, appreciate you
this is my boy right here.
Appreciate you being patient. What's on your mind, Danico?
What's going on, Jay? How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing it. Hey, man, I know there's not too many people with the name Danico. I know it's what I see you. You go ahead, bring it, man.
Well, I'm going to bring it, Jay. Listen, it's just this simple, Jay. I mean, I understand now why when Dion came to Colorado, he got rid of all the players, because he felt like if they was 1-11 the year before, he didn't want them on their team. And see, what we are going through, people can keep talking about play calling all day long, is people are not executing. The players are not executed on the field. I don't care what plays you call. You can call the simplest plays in the world. If you're not going to block, you're not going to catch, and if you're going to throw interceptions, when you got all day to throw the ball to a linebacker that's right there in your face, then we can't win games, man. I'm looking forward to the day where we cycle out all these players that Scott Frost have trained to fade down the stretch, and we bring in Matt Rule players.
Appreciate it, Danico. Appreciate that. Let's go to the phone line once. I guess, Jay, do you have any thoughts on that before we take our next call?
Let's get another caller. I know they've been waiting. Then we'll hit it.
Let's go to Jason on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Jason, thanks for being patient, man. What's on your mind?
Thanks, guys. Hey, I just want to call in. I feel so bad for the fans, the donors, the amount of people that have put energy and money into this program, and we keep going, and we keep going, and we keep hoping. And it's got to be literally one of the worst return on investments in sports franchise history around the world, not just in America. We got to be number one over the past 20 years. But now we are in a time where, look at Indiana. Look at these other teams. We're paying players. We're paying coaches. If we put our resources in the right areas and treat it like it's a minor league NFL team, we can change this fast. But the head man has to, he's got to follow what he says. And like I said too, just his mentality and running the ball, I feel like it's all getting way too cute with, hey, we got Raiola, way too much run pass option, just get north and south, do what you can. That's all I got, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Jason. Jay, any thoughts?
We got Steve. Then we'll. We'll go.
All right, we're gonna keep we going with Steve. Steve, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. I don't usually leave a Nebraska football game, but I left today for one reason. The elephant in the room is, why do we play one half and the coaches refuse to do anything about being a one half team? When's the last time we played a full game of football?
I mean,
we're playing quarters and halves, but we're not playing a full game of football. Why aren't they addressing this in practice?
I guess what in your mind, Steve, what constitutes a full game of football? Like, what would it be, a touchdown a quarter? Like, what is success to you for playing a full game of football?
What did we do against Colorado? We played the first half and pretty much did nothing offensively the second half.
Yeah, I think Ohio State was a pretty good 4-quarter game for the most part.
All right, I'll give you that. That's one game. What about the rest of the games?
I'm not saying you're wrong.
We just play bits and pieces, and they don't put a whole game together. It's disturbing for the fans.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you, Steve. I think we all can agree as spectators and people that cover this program that it's not been consistently pretty, especially offensively, but it also hasn't been great defensively. It hasn't been great special teams wise. I think the whole conglomerate of it all hasn't been great all year consistently.
Yeah, the continuity is not as good as it was last year, and it's hard to say it because I think we're a better team. I'm talking on both sides of my mouth, right? I think obviously talent-wise, I think we're a better team. We don't turn the ball over as much, so it's more probably, in theory, better, I guess, aesthetically pleasing, right? I will say this, that to talk about that, and he's right. I think sometimes when you're playing in the Big Ten and you're playing, look, we need to come to terms with this. Nebraska is an average team. All right? Average. What average teams do, they're high one week, low one week, medium one week, medium the next, high, crash out, high again. We just crashed out. That's what, and then at the end of the year, you're an average team. And and that's not a knock on them. That's just where we are. Period. Now, we're trying to do things, and Matt Rule is trying to implement things to take us from average to good teams. What good teams do generally are mature teams. They show up, it's almost like, I call it the walk-by test. If you walk by a team, you kind of know what you get, right? And then good teams are capable of having spectacular games, but they're generally flatline and very good, like good teams. And so we're not there yet. And like Danico's right, like we're not executing, man. We are not, like the players are not executing. You're just like you can't sit there. The easy thing is talk about the plays. And sure, there is philosophies and stuff that probably need to be addressed. I'd be a dummy not to say so. But before you do that, our execution and our discipline, and which is a personal choice, and it is also because you're getting compensated for it. Now, whether you like it or not, I don't care the age. You got to have that discipline, right? So you got to address yourself first. And look, they got to be let down. There's got to be like a lot of like stuff, gut checks and all that stuff. But the first thing you do before you start pointing the fingers, you got to make sure that you got to look at yourself in the mirror, that make sure you're handling your business day in and day out. And if you haven't, and if there's any question whether you haven't, then that means you haven't. And there's not a lot of guys on the team that says, you know what, I've been handling my business from game 1 to game 9. And you start there. Then you can really get into the continuity thing. And I'm going to say this before we go to break. What Nebraska's dealing with right now is something that nobody's ever addressed. So this is for everybody out there listening. Last year, they were the hunter. New on the block. New regime. Everybody's all in because you're trying to prove yourself, right? You got a new coach, right? New staff, a whole new lease on your football life, right? NIL was kind of like blowing up, so you had right? It's like the first day of school, everybody's on their best behavior, right? Now you're here. Now you're a little comfortable, right? And then guess what? This year, Nick, you're being hunted. That means people know about you. That means people are actually giving you more respect. That means they have spent more time on you in the offseason. They're starting to scout you individually and collectively, even as a position group. It don't matter that you came in the portal. The spotlight's on you. So that's why you have to have a different mentality, and the discipline has to be at the highest when you're being hunted.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're hunting something, it's a tangible object. This is who we're going to. When you're being hunted, you're constantly on the move. So that means you can't be satisfied with what you did last year. You can't even be satisfied with what you did last week.
Yeah.
Which we've seen, right? We're being hunted. You don't think UCLA's meter went up when they watched that game last week? You don't think you don't think that they sat there Saturday out in California and was like, oh, it's got to be on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be ready. We're going to Lincoln.
I think it's just so disheartening and frustrating. I know it pisses a lot of fans off because that's like everything that you just described, Jay. Granted, it's easier said than done.
It is easier said than done.
But that's what you've wanted. That's what we hear every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday is like
but Nick,
that they want to be viewed as that program.
I'm going to tell you what my grandfather told me literally before he passed away, my junior year. He said, "Don't tell me what you want to do. Show me what you did." And he read me the Bible verse about David and Goliath. He read me the whole thing, not the one that you think that you got in school, the real one. Don't tell me what you want. Show me what you did. That's exactly where we're at. Being hunted is, I'm telling you, man, it's the difference between going from average to good to great. You're constantly chasing something and it's not tangible because you have to always be looking over your shoulder. And what does that do? That makes you become more disciplined. That makes you become more united. That means actually I got to play for Nick Sainert. I got to play for Austin. I got to play for, Farley. I got to play for all those guys because ultimately I need you more than I need my personal goals and status or whatever it is, because I can't attain anything by going out there and playing good one week. And then the teams are prepared for me the next week. And then now we're got blitzkrieg on against UCLA. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So this thing right here, before we start talking about schematics and all that, and we'll get into that in the next segment. This right here is right here up in your head.
Yeah,
right
I think I know you and I agree on a lot because we've had a lot of conversations before UCLA even happened. I think we agree on. I know we agree on a lot of it. I think just for the sake of this program, trying to play the other side of the coin and say, okay, what about this part of it? What about with that before we go to break? You mentioned the discipline for Nebraska. A lot of fans look at the penalty numbers and go, okay, well, Nebraska only had 2 penalties on them. UCLA had more. UCLA was less disciplined than Nebraska.
Yeah, they were egregious.
But I think there's more that there's more to the onion about being disciplined. So so discipline. Go back to that. What constitutes discipline?
Since we're talking about an onion, everybody, I love onions, right? I like mine or whatever. So the first part of discipline is the penalties, right? That's like when you first when you cut an onion in half and you got to get the skin off it, right?
Yeah.
But really in the middle, when they say when it really makes your eyes burn, that's the discipline that we need, right? That's the communication. That's the tackling. That's the finishing. That's the doing the extra work, right? That's having the eye discipline. That's having the pre-snap communication, during snap communication, post-snap communication. It's got to be impeccable. That's where it is. We don't have enough, leeway or
margin for error
or a big enough talent gap to have any days off. And this is what everybody thinks I'm crazy or whatever. Like, oh, you're talking about the 90s. No, man. This is no different. Like in your life, every day is 4th and 1. Yeah. Every day is 4th and 1. Every single day is 4th and 1. When you eat, it's 4th and 1. When you eat lunch, it's 4th and 1. And if you ain't thinking about football 99% of your day, when you're getting paid, and you're a student athlete, well, let's be honest. You getting paid. Yeah. This is your job.
Significant amounts.
It's significant. This is it, dude.
I guess
you get what I'm saying? That's what 100%. Because that drive, that discipline will push you to do more than what you've done. You can't sit in the locker room and say, well, we just got to keep doing the same thing we're doing. We're not executing. We're not playing up to our potential. So when people are upset, that's actually a good thing. But people are tired of being, what they say, I'm tired of being tired, right? But really, the potential and the times that we've seen you play good is in you. So now it's got to be like, look, man, if I was in there, I call the captain. You guys are captains. You guys are on the internet. We out of here. Yeah. Our customer, we're out here. Figure it out.
Because is there any
lock the door and figure it out?
Any excuse that by game 9 now, because Nebraska falls to 5-4, any excuse by game 9 that it's not better than where it was at the start of the season?
Well, I mean, like I said, this is an average team, so you're going to get the highs and lows. They're trying to figure out how to be consistent. So, you could argue last week it was better, right?
Up and down, the roller coaster. Because we saw it in Bloomington. It certainly wasn't good.
It was not. But then you would probably say, up until then, it's been pretty consistent. You kind of could deal with the growing pains, and some of it was like we were playing a lot of players early in the season. So we were kind of like, I always reference Dabo Swinney when he had a couple games like that at Clemson. He's like, look, I'm building depth, and it worked out for him. But that's a totally different era. But we were trying to build up depth, so you're okay with that without the margins and some growing pains. Well, you then you had an uptick in growing, right? But then now it became to situational football. Then you fixed that, you came back, bounced back, and then now you got to really feel like I'm telling you, man, you got a time right now to literally lock those doors and sit there, and it doesn't need to be there's got to be emotion there, because if you don't have emotion, you don't care. But you got to sit up there and go, what are we going to do to figure out? Some of you guys got 3 games left. All right, what John 1, 2, 3, 4 Husker says about your draft status, that don't mean tiddly poo. The eye in the sky is the most important. You got 3 more games, some people, to play ever in your life, and let alone play here at Nebraska. And you can make something out of nothing. You get what I'm saying? 3 winnable games. But you can't even think about winning the next game, because here's what the deal is. Here's what the difference is. Don't talk to me about the pros until you can dominate in practice. Because if you dominate in practice, you will dominate in the game. Until you can kick ass or kick butt in the game in practice, then you can do it in the game. And then you do it the next week. And then you don't even think twice about it. Then that'll be who you are. Now, there's a lot of things that go into it. And so I think the most frustrating thing is, probably for a lot of fans, is that, well, I don't know if they know this, but this is all fixable. It's all fixable for the most part. I mean, we're not going to have Quinn Ewers. We're not going to have, right? But the things that we're talking about discipline-wise, right? Finishing, going the extra mile, playing with a little bit more intensity. We've seen you play way more intense, we've seen you come out on fire. First of all, I'm not taking anything away from Eric Bieniemy and all those guys.
Yeah.
Right? Oh. I'm not taking anything away from those dudes. But you can't convince me, any day that ends in Y, that going on the road to Columbus, Ohio, after getting your butt kicked in Bloomington, that number one, that's a hard task to do. Getting on the plane and facing the demons again, and then looking at that offense that has something to prove, right? The pressure was on them. They were trying to blow you out, right? So you answered the bell. So now we got to see if we got to figure out how you answer the bell. Do you got to play you got to play to win and play not to lose?
Let's go back to the phone lines, 402-464-5685. We got Mike on the line. Mike, you're on the show, man. What's on your mind?
Hey, I got a couple of questions for you guys. Tell me if I'm way off. It just seems to me we can't set up a punt return to save our lives. And I know it's more than I know, but it's not like a game plan. It's got to be somewhat simple in what you do. And we can't block the gunners. Every time he catches a punt, there's 2 guys right there. And I watched it really close today. And there was time we had 3 blockers on 2 gunners, and both gunners got through. And 2 of our blockers ran into each other trying to block one guy, knocked each other over. Am I missing something? Why can't we ever block gunners and get a little return? 10 yards. The next question, clock management I thought was horrific towards the end of the 3rd quarter, beginning of 4th. We're down 2 scores. And I don't think we ever got the ball off with less than 5 seconds to go. And I kept thinking, you don't have to hurry, but I sure hope that doesn't come back to bite us, losing all that time. And it sure as heck did, in my opinion. You tell me. And then lastly, I want to ask you one question. I stuck with Callahan, Frost, all them to the end. But at some point, when you look at rules record in 1-score games, and you look at his record against top 25 teams, at what point do you say maybe this is who he is, or am I being unfair? Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Jay, I know you'll have a lot of thoughts on that. Let's first address the punt stuff. I would say punt return. I would say the special teams game in general, the special teams return game, because you could say the same thing with kickoff return. Nebraska, when they do get the chances to return a kick, they don't really set anything up. It feels like, doesn't feel like they have much opportunity there. Punt return. I've said, you know what? I give a lot of credit to Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, strictly because he was a wide receiver on this roster for the last couple of years, had a bad knee injury, probably could have been done with football, but came back, and instead of getting pissed off and whining like we complain about some college athletes nowadays,
right,
he embraced his role as a punt returner. And guess what? There's been 0 muffed punts this year from Isaiah Garcia Castaneda.
Yeah, and he's had a couple, decent returns.
Yeah, but like that's a glass half full. To Mike's point, though, I mean, it is immediately a fair catch every single time when they punt the ball to Nebraska. I mean, it takes away any opportunity from, like, in recent history, what we remember seeing from guys like DeMornay, Pearsonell, and so on and so forth.
Right, but the situations are drastically different. Number one, when I played, and then after with DeJuan Gross, who's was an All-American, you had more dominating defenses, so you had the teams were backed up, so you had more opportunities at realistic punt return situations. We didn't have that today. We haven't had that all year, where it's 3 and out, we're punting, we're catching at the 50, it is on, right? And then also UCLA, I'll just deal with UCLA. They got a really good specialist group, kicker and punter. So, I felt like the punt return was fine. The kickoff return, you had one. I think I saw one and kind of was like, whatever. You're sure. That's if today's special teams perform. I mean, I guess obviously not the extra point, but just in the return game, if that was our biggest issue, we'd be talking about we won. Yeah. The bigger issues here, I guess this must be from the text line, right? Is this the chat over here with your boy Bruce? Is Bruce Davis over there?
Bruce is he's
Bruce,
over
you
here.
need to listen to what I'm saying. Yes, the fans are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yes, that's what they're tired of losing. That's what I just said. Why are you repeating why are you texting and repeating what I just said? Because I do understand it, that where they're at. And then as far as like the one score thing, this is it's very unique because, or the ranked team thing, or I don't know which one he
one score games, ranked teams, and
generally,
especially in Nebraska.
When you take over, I could only talk about the college programs. When he took over Temple, Baylor, and Nebraska, he's trying to rehab these places. So when you play teams that are ranked, most likely you're not going to win. I'm not making any excuses, right? And then the rank thing, that's just kind of based on who you're playing. If you're playing and you're competitive, you're coming up on the short end of the stick. I guess I would have to go back and really study, but I think more or less right now, I'm just going to be worried about what we're doing in year 1.5 or 1 3/4 versus what he did back 10, 12 years ago at Temple and Baylor, because the game is significantly different. How you recruit and develop and who you're playing against in your conference is significantly different. And obviously this is the hardest conference I feel top to bottom in the nation. And this is the biggest job anybody that's a head coach here that you will ever get. It is. It's a prestigious job. It's a blue blood job. The amount of pressure and the expectations, people know what good football is. Sometimes the expectations aren't realistic. I just think, there's a lot on the bone that you can really attack, but really it's tenfold, right? I'm sure all the coaches say we need to do a better job, right? I'm sure they will. And then all the players will say it as well. But at the end of the day, you got to go do it.
Yeah.
Right? You got to, and you can't push the panic button and say we're going to run a new offense, we're going to run a new defense, because that breeds it won't be successful. It might work once, but it won't work over time. So you have to figure out what you're doing somewhat like on a consistent basis. That's got to be your crutch. And then you got to look at, okay, what are we not doing well? And why aren't we doing it well? Right? And then the players have to understand and really have a realistic talk with us. Okay, let's all sit in there and let's just put it all out there. Let's just put it all out there, because you can't tell me that I have a ton of respect for Tony White. I know that defense a lot more about it now than I did before, because obviously been able to watch it. You can't tell me he has defenses that you don't set the edge. You can't tell me that. He's a former linebacker. Yeah, I can guarantee you that's not what he's doing. So somebody's not setting the edge. What I talk about, Nick, you got to set the edge and condense the edge. So there's plenty of blame to go around, and I understand the fans. I feel sorry for them just because, the hopes are up. But I think also you have to understand, as much as we'd like to think that this team is like consistent and ready to go, it's just there's a little inconsistent. And it was obviously not little. They're significantly inconsistent. And that's tough because it's right there in front of you, right? I mean, heck, as bad as like kind of Nebraska played, you had a chance to go, 80 yards to tie the game up? Potentially could have won it if you made an extra field. Now, they made a great play to end the game, but ultimately you had a chance to win or at least tie the game, send it into overtime. And so, I mean, it's tough, man. This is probably a tough loss. Number one, you're going into a bye week. So now you got to sit on that and simmer. Then you got to go on a long road trip. So it's definitely, a part of it. And everybody's got to figure out, you can't sit up there and throw your hands up and wave the white flag. It's like, the season's over. You can't do that. What you have to do is obviously let this sink in, let it sting. And you got to get back to work, but you got to get back to work in a more efficient and in a more disciplined and probably more clear way.
There's a lot that we can get to, a lot more that Jay, I know, has on his mind, myself as well. 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln Hotline, the Starter Heyman text.
Hold on. You guys. Hey, Bruce Davis said it's fourth and one for me too. No, it ain't. I ain't playing. But I'm just telling you what the mentality needs to be. 4th and 1 every day, and including come 12 o'clock, it's 4th and 1 again.
Yeah.
There is no sleep. You ain't resting, right? Or you need right? Or am I wrong?
No, you played. I would like to think no, right? There's a lot of texts, a lot of thoughts, a lot of want to have our opinions on things, Jay.
All right, we'll take a text and come right back, man.
A giant text dump when we come back.
What kind of dump is it? This is diarrhea.
It's bad.
Cha.
It's bad. Take us away.
It is? All right, man. Jay Foreman Postgame Show. We're going to take a quick break. Come right back. We're going to hit your text up, man. We'll go a little bit extended tonight. Feeling charitable. Right? All right. Jay Foreman, Postgame Show. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
League One Volleyball is coming to Omaha this January. Featuring Olympic medalist Jordan Larson and Justine Wong-Arantes, Love Omaha Volleyball is Omaha's newest pro team. The inaugural season will showcase some of the world's best volleyball players, from medalists to NCAA champions and international superstars, with the action kicking off on January 24th at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Visit LOVB.com for more information and to purchase tickets. Volleyball is the next major league.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Transform your view with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything while keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
Post Malone is teaming up with Raising Cane's to empower the next generation of artists. For a limited time, 2 exclusive double-sided Post Malone posters are available at Raising Cane's to raise funds for Notes for Notes charity. focused on providing youth in need free access to instruments, music lessons, and studio resources. Posters drop October 20th with a second design dropping November 3rd. So post up your combo at Cane's while supplies last and support a good cause. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
As a proud member of the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, Coalition Restoration stands out by providing thorough property assessments, personalized customer service, and top-notch craftsmanship. With years of experience in the industry, Coalition Restoration has built a notable reputation for having a team filled with skilled professionals and possessing the expertise to handle any roofing project, big or small. Visit their website today for a free roof assessment at www.coalitionrestoration.com or give them a call at 402-607-8186.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through November 3rd, enjoy 8-ounce USDA Choice Bacon-Wrapped Sirloin Fillets for $4.99 each. USDA Choice Whole New York Strip Loins $9.99 per pound. 4-ounce fresh salmon portions $4.99 each. And Fairway Bakery Pies $12.99. Buy one, get one free. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Is it time to replace your AC? Call Bryant and save money in every way. Bryant provides you with solutions that save. Save big immediately with attractive rebates, and save every day with lower operating costs. Most important, though, the systems are selected to fit you. The right system, priced right, properly installed. That's the way Bryant works for you. How much can you save? Call for a free estimate. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Hey guys, it's Nick. You know how much I love beer, and this game day, show your Husker pride with Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of the Nebraska Alumni Association. Brewed by Nebraska fans, for Nebraska fans, Dear Old Nebraska Brew is your go-to for every kickoff, touchdown, and celebration. Whether it's tailgating, watching the game at home, or gathering with friends, this beer is there to bring that perfect game day refreshment. Dear Old Nebraska Brew embodies the spirit of Nebraska with every sip. So crack one open and let the good times roll. Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of Nebraska alumni. Please drink responsibly.
Jay Foreman Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Tavern 180, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman Postgame Show, brought to you by Anderson Ford of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak, Action Plumbing, Elway Sports of Lincoln, Tavern 180. Appreciate your support and for the postgame show. Obviously, I'm wish it was under better terms or different circumstances, I guess.
We started out so strong this year, Jay, with those.
But the year's not over.
It's not.
But I'm telling you right now, this is a pivotal time for, before we get in the text line, it's a pivotal time for, this first part of the program, but it's pivotal time for a lot of these players. Mm-hmm. It is. You got 3 games left in your Nebraska career. And if you potentially or have dreams to go to the next level, it's a pivotal time in your career. More importantly, take the pros out of it. This is what you're going to be remembered for. This is going to be your legacy. So for the guys that came back, if you're able to become bowl eligible, all the stuff that you went through before is not going to be referenced. They're going to say you were part of a bowl team, but you're not going to become a bowl team until you fix yourself first. You got to fix your attitude. You got to fix your mindset, and you got to fix your discipline. You got to become more disciplined. If you think you're disciplined right now, you're probably operating about 70%. That's average, right? C.
Yeah.
Is C an average?
Yeah.
Or C is average, 70% though, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they, you got kids with 4.2, whatever, but
not sure
that's where you're at right now.
Let's just go through some of these text messages before we hear some Matt Rule. How about this one, Jay? We'll start off with this because it is a very popular comment, question, rant on the text line. I know you probably can guess where I'm going with it. Jay, first-time listener, first-time texter. How about that? What is your take on Marcus Satterfield?
Well, I mean, obviously under a lot of heat.
I was going to say, let's just address the elephant in the room right off the bat because we've had a lot of those.
Yeah, he got a lot of heat on him. As far as his play calling, I think it's better than what they've been showing, and that's the honest to God truth. You know what I mean? I think his plays, obviously the screen passes last week was the big topic, but I think, the plays he's dialed up has been better than the execution or the result. Yeah. Should it be better? Sure. He'd probably tell you it's better, right? Has he said so?
More or less.
Okay. Well, I mean, everybody thinks it can be better.
Yeah.
By no means am I think he needs to be canned or anything. I think before you start evaluating coaches, listen, man, in that room, I'm telling you right now, if I was, I hate to even say it because people are like, oh, you're too old or whatever. Well, but if I was a coach, I'm calling you to the carpet. We in this together. You getting paid, I'm getting paid. I got a family, you don't have one. My family depends on you playing good.
Yeah.
That's not as it got true. So listen, I'm gonna talk to you like a man. That I can be upset with you, but it's only about how you're playing. I still love you as a player, and hopefully you love and respect me as a coach. But in order for me to be honest with you, or in order for me to coach you, I have to be brutally honest with you. It's not personal. It's just business because we're in this business. We're in the business of winning.
And it's results-driven business.
Right.
It's a results-driven business.
Right. And so it's been a little up and down for Satterfield, but I think there's probably plenty of blame to go around.
Let's go through some of these. Earthquake Glue says, this is really bad, guys. I'm sick of this garbage. I've been going to games since mid-'80s, and I'm current season ticket holder since 2003. I'm so tired of it. I need some ROI, and soon. There you go. 7470 says, I just went in on the text dump because the text dump can't hurt me like the Huskers can. 5769 says, most of our starters are seniors. This is horrible. Rule said he wasn't prepared after a bye week. What is that garbage? Why haven't we fixed anything in 20 years? Chris in Omaha says, that was the most uninspiring performance that I've seen in a long time. I shut it off after the pick 6 because I've seen that movie too many times the last 2 decades. It's embarrassing that we have a team so full of talent, but that had no want to today after getting the brakes beat off them by Indiana, then losing a close game to Ohio State that they won if they would have won if they actually finished. Mississippi Mud Dog jokes around, says if it's 4th and 1, we'd probably throw a screen pass or a swing pass. Railroader Matt, we just addressed the Marcus Satterfield stuff. How about this one? Tony White just had the opportunity to slam the team that didn't hire him and hire Deshaun Foster instead, and he choked today. Bad. I'm not so sure about that first part of it. Okay, Railroader Matt, here we go. Jay, I'm getting harassed on the text line for not asking you this question. Flat out, yes or no, has Satterfield done enough to retain his job?
I ain't answering that.
There you go. I knew you wouldn't, but I wanted to at least for the happiness of
first of all, if
the
anybody gets on the radio and says that, it's Bush League.
There you go. Let's see. Here we go. Wet blanket. This game can be summarized by UCLA calling a timeout with 1:26 before half on 3rd and 8. no fear of giving the Nebraska offense the ball and see 3rd and 8 as an opportunity to get the first down and score again before the end of the half. So there you have it. Any thoughts on any of those things that I read, Jay?
Well, I mean, I think UCLA at that point in time felt like they had pretty much a chokehold on the game. They dictated the pace of the game. So why wouldn't you try to score more points? Here's what here's what coaches know. Take advantage of the opportunities you can. It's a pro type of mentality. Eric Bieniemy is a professional offensive coordinator. He's a great coordinator. So he knows if you can cash in on more points before half, that's great. Also, you have to remember Nebraska gets the ball coming out of half.
Yeah.
So you should be aggressive. You know what I mean? Because that's the last time that you're going to have the possession of the ball for quite some time. If you count Nebraska having the ball going at halftime, Nebraska gets the ball again. Now, they didn't plan for we're going to have a pick six on the first play of the second half. But even that, Nebraska got the ball again, but you got points out of it from your defense. So, as far as the Tony White thing, I felt like the execution wasn't there. I think it's way too much space coverage-wise. Way too lack of physicalities at the second level tackling. Now, it got better.
I also didn't think they contained Garbers well. Like, they allowed him to get out of the pocket quite a bit.
And he's sneaky because you would like to have a spy on him.
In addition to the 57-yard run, which, by the way, is the longest rush of the season for UCLA. But I'm talking more so than just that run.
Well, he broke the pocket a couple times. And he could pick him up and put him down. We've seen him last week against Rutgers.
Yeah.
So you have to game plan for him. But I think that what gave him confidence to do that, Nick, is that they were on time and on schedule all day long with their offense.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you the confidence to do it and it also gives you the opportunity because by them starting so quick and so efficient in that pretty much that first half, I think they had 260 yards in the first half, right?
Oh, I can get you that here in just
or close to it.
Yeah.
Right? Something close.
First half, they had 248 total yards.
248 yards.
Yep. Nebraska
right.
had 71.
Right. So when you have when you're operating at that level, what it does is it puts you in a bend but don't break mentality defensively, and also as a player when you're playing. So the calls you're going to try to start coverage.
Yeah.
Well, then that gives up some run lanes by him if you get out of your rush lane. And he's a pretty dang good athlete. I mean, he hit one of our DBs with the dead leg.
Mm-hmm. Got him turned around.
No, he just got him with that dead leg, boy. Is serious.
Undefeated.
It is undefeated.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification, then come back and hear Matt Rule here in 10 seconds.
Dead leg.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
This is a little bit of a longer answer by Matt Rule, but I'm curious on what he had to say. Obviously, we haven't heard any of it quite yet from his post-game press conference. Not sure if we'll hear from Dylan Raiola yet. Dylan Raiola probably not, since he got banged up and injured. That's all right. So Matt Rule was the first one to go to the podium. Then it was Isaac Gifford. Then it was Brian Buschini in that order. I'm sure there's a couple of more guys that ended up talking to the media. But Matt Rule was asked, why is there a lack of offensive rhythm? This is a little bit of an extended answer. So we may have to just cut it up and put it into bits and pieces here. But why the lack of offensive rhythm for Nebraska? Here's what Matt Rule had to say.
They did a good job early on of coming out and just all out maxing. Like, they were literally bringing 4 guys in the B gaps and bringing the free safety behind. And some of the mechanisms we have to handle that are the screen game and our gapping it up, maxing it up, and trying to throw the ball down the field. Eventually we got to one with Nayor where, he hit them down the field and got them a little bit out of that. But they took the ball, they went on a long drive. We went 3 and out. They went on another long drive. And we had seen that against Rutgers. We had seen that, that's kind of how they play early on in the first half. Rutgers only had 3 possessions. We were able to hit the big play, make it a 7-0 game. But I think in general, in the passing game, when it came to third down and converting third downs, they were just all out zero blitzing us, and we weren't answering it the way that you need to. And once we, you finished the game like 9 of 17 on third down. I can't tell you in the first half. At one point, it was like 1 for a lot. So we struggled. Made the adjustment in the second. We made the adjustment early. We got it, kind of finally taken care of in the second half, and we're able to stay on the field more. And then, down in the red zone, the first time down there we scored, obviously, right? So that was, we were good there. Really, the one before the half, put the ball in the 2. We've been running the power play. We lost Barrett, so we put Elijah Judy in at fullback. He was doing a great job. He went down. So just kind of really more a matter of a couple times bodies, and then.
All right, we can stop right there. Jay, I mean, there's a lot there. Pretty wordy stuff. I mean, there was still another 45 seconds from Matt Rule on that answer there on why there's a lack of offensive rhythm. I guess overall, what do you think it is? Was it UCLA just loading the box? I mean, there were times where they were putting 8, 9 in the box, and Nebraska was still just trying to run it right at them.
Well, I mean,
and that's part of football. I get that.
It's part of football. First of all, people get on here and complain that you ain't running the ball. You run the damn ball, you still complaining. So just stop complaining and let them coach. Right? I mean, that's honest to God truth. I mean, if you pass it too much, they need to run the ball. Then we run it, and it gets stopped. Now, they were run blitzing like a mug. And they were.
I know from the get-go.
But the reason I guess we'll go into a little bit of football philosophy here. The reason why they felt like they could run blitz, okay, Nick, is because they felt like they could lock up their corners against us. Okay, so here's what happens when you run blitz. Because I think if they really first of all, I know based on what they did, if they probably didn't feel as confident. They might say they did, but the fact that they run blitz and just, I call it submerged the line of scrimmage, right? They probably didn't feel comfortable that they could just line up base defense and win. So you counteract that, but then you put the onus on the corners.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they can get on islands.
On islands, and they felt like even if we called a run blitz, it turns into a pass blitz where they were coming from everywhere. They were stunting. They were shifting their line right there to try to cause some confusion on our block count, on our count, right to left from the center position. Then they would blitz off of it, the strong side. Then they would blitz off the weak side. Then they would blitz up the middle. Then they would drop some guys. So they were trying to create a sense of confusion by overwhelming you with bodies and numbers. Mm-hmm. And so what they did is they just came and submerged the line of scrimmage. And there was a couple times we got beat, and then allowed them to make some plays. Especially in the run game. And then in the pass game, I just felt like when you get in the red zone, like you said, we scored that one. And, the fade pass, we need to get off a jam. I mean, we was locked up, boys, right? Hey, have you ever heard the Teddy Riley text line?
No.
Yeah, I know you. He has this song called Jam. And he's saying, Jam.
Jay.
We were jammed up.
I was...
Dollar Bill's on the line.
I know. We'll get to Bill in a second. I was very, very discouraged by Nebraska's decisions on a couple of red zone plays, and more so when they had goal to go. One was it was the 50-50 ball. They on the drive that they went down to the goal line. I believe this was actually the same drive. They throw the 50-50 fade ball to Jamal Banks in the corner, right? And Jamal just couldn't get off and get any separation. The throw was well over his head as well. I would almost gather, too, that they're hoping for some sort of penalty flag as well to keep the drive alive. But then it was before the 4th down play. They call the timeout. And out of the timeout, they motion Ja'Cory Barney from the bottom to the top, from the left to the right. Then Dylan takes the shotgun snap, and the play is designed to roll to his left. Dante Dowdell has to pick up a block. He gets ran over. Dylan runs into Dante Dowdell, who's on the turf, and he gets sacked on the 4th and goal, and that's Nebraska turned it over on downs. This was in the 4th quarter. And I was confused by the decision to motion the guy well out of the play. There was not even a scenario to where Ja'Cory Barney, who is Nebraska's number 1 wide receiver right now, and Dylan's favorite target, out of the play. And then you're putting Dylan in a spot where he's going to have to throw across his body. And the personnel that they had in also for the 2 guys running the routes was a little questionable in addition to all of that. I was very discouraged by a couple of decisions that they chose with in the. Do you remember that play specifically?
I do remember. I mean, it happened. There was an avalanche. Right?
I mean, yeah,
he
it
got
was.
just, I mean,
But it was like that's what you draw out
I
of the
didn't even get a
timeout?
chance. I didn't even get a chance to look at the route combination.
Yeah.
Dude, you just got bum rush.
Well, they both ran an out pattern. Just one was at the start of at the goal line, the other one was at the back of the end zone. That was what you drew up out of a timeout. That's a timeout that would have proven to be pretty valuable down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to try to get the best play that you can. That's why you call the timeout.
I get it, yeah.
Because you think you have a play for the scenario. I just think the biggest thing. Here, I will tell you this. This is from a defensive perspective. The best red zone teams have a combination of this. They have dogs down there. The mentality changes. It's supposed to defensively as well. Mm-hmm. They become hyper focused and ultra competitive. You have to. It's different down there. It's tight spaces. There's more pressure. You got to go make a play. And here's the one thing about there's another thing with red zone offenses and teams and defense as well. Nick, it's never pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you can come up and run like a bootleg or whatever and do that, and it looks pretty, right? Like the one UCLA did on us, and they kind of right the kind of like the fake bootleg throwback screen, walked it in. Okay, that's like 3 or 4 times a season. Reason why I say it's not pretty and it's dirty down in the red zone, because I gotta make a play as a tight end. I gotta come off the ball like I'm shot out of a cannon, bump into a linebacker, box him out, and I gotta catch it. And it's not going to be a clean catch. I got to catch the ball. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because it's not, it's you practice it, but it's just got to, you do practice it, but you just got to make a play. I got to throw a fade in it. I can't be like pretty off of there. I got to get into my motion, and I know the ball's coming. So I might have to come up and through you to make the play.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or I got to make an adjustment. Or if an offensive lineman, I got to drive you into the ground. So that philosophy needs to go in there. And then also another thing, what good red zone teams are, it's either conceptual, really, really good, right? Which probably we're struggling at, or they have, I would say, think players, not plays. Mm-hmm. So we need some players to step up. And of course, you need to get a little bit more push down there, and get the philosophy going. But I call them direct access plays. That was a direct access to and this is what people need to understand about a freshman quarterback, or Dylan in particular. This is the longest season that he's ever been a part of in his young football career. It's 9 weeks into the season, but you've had a longer two-a-days. You've already had one bye week. We're 10 weeks in. You probably be in your second week in the playoffs. Heck, if they lost, he's at the crib. You got a whole nother month left, right? And so I know the bye week came at a good time, but then also it's just your body. I always talk about this when we talked about the Timberwolves, and I know it's a different thing, is that their body was not trained to go this long. And so he can recover and get back at it. Obviously, he needs to get healthy and all that. But, ultimately, down the red zone, you got to get some sort of philosophy. You got to either mix up when you're running the plays, run and pass, but then also you got to get some plays that are you got to understand what they do defensively. That's probably the thing that's missing. Like, what are they doing defensively, right? Are they a zone? Are they a matchup team? Are they a high blitz team? Well, then you got to then you got to make sure every week your red zone package is curtailed to them. I'm sure they are, but we got to probably do a little bit better job than that.
Here is Dylan Raiola. Just what happened to get him hurt. Here's what Dylan had to say about that before we take a call.
Yeah, just got hit in the wrong spot. I'll come in tomorrow and see get checked out and probably get screened.
All right, so there you go. Not much there. Bill is on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Bill, appreciate you being patient, man. What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing much. I guess just watching the game, just a little concerned and frustrated. I'm kind of thinking, where does Husky Nation go from here? I mean, we have some tough losses. Is the honeymoon over with Coach Rule? And what really gets me is that I'm listening to the post-game show, and then my fiance walks by, and she's like, why are you listening to the same show? And I'm like, not the same show. This is today's show. And she's like, well, it's like you guys are complaining about the same thing. And I'm like, dude, you're right. I'm like, what's going on over here? What say you guys, man? Go Big Red.
Appreciate it, Bill. Jay, what do you do?
Well, number one, we gotta get out of the mindset that you're drawing a conclusion on a coach and he ain't been here 2 years. Like that needs to be done, right? I mean, you're not gonna get anywhere like that. We'll be in 2036 having the same thing in like 20 coaches. You know, where do we go from here? You go right back to work, but you got to dive into that drawing board. I mean, literally, you got to go back to the basics, peel that, that onion back and get down to the foundation of what you want to do and what you have to do. And then you got to systematically and holistically and realistically fix the things that are broken. Right? You got to find a way to, we got to look at, I guess it's a good time to self-scout. You got to look at right now, you got to look at your opponents, right? And obviously the biggest opponent is, first of all, there's two big opponents that we got coming down this week. Number one, the hardest opponents that we face is who, Nick?
Ourselves.
Nebraska. Then USC. But you got to, like, offensively, let's look at, and we'll cover defense as well. Let's look at the plays or the type of plays, running plays, that we ran. You're 9 weeks in, so we know we got a good. We should have a
sample size.
We have a good sample size.
Should work.
Okay, let's see what we do well.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we do well, and let's not just sit on that. Let's make it even better. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So just say if we ran, power G, and we were getting 5 point yards a carry. Well, let's see where we can get 6, 7, 8 yards in that, and then also let's dice it up different ways. You get what I mean? Different personnel, shifting and all that. And then let's see where we're really, really weak at in the run game. What plays, players, X, Y, and Z. No, I mean, this is being serious.
No,
you're asking, what do we need to do?
No, I know.
This is how you get better. Well, then you want to really lessen that.
Yeah.
Right? And then you want to do that in offense, defense, and special teams. And then that's how you come out of the bye week. Now, all that stuff is the X's and O's and the schematic stuff. But before that, the all-in mentality and what we have to do more, and also I'll say this before we go to
we got two more
Jeff
calls.
and Devin. Listen, I would tell the team this: don't confuse movement with progress. Just because you're moving around doesn't mean that you're making progress. We're not coming to practice to get through practice. We better be showing up ready to get better at practice. And if I'm Ty Robinson, if I'm Nash, if I'm Gifford, if I'm those dudes, and I got a chance to maybe get another month of football to, further my career, I can guarantee you ain't gonna like me. I ain't your buddy, and rightfully so. We ain't buddies. When we're on this football field, there is no friends.
You'll remember last year, and this is just to stick the knife in the gut and maybe twist it a little bit. Nebraska has had 7 opportunities since they won their 5th game last year to get to a bowl game. They've lost 7 straight games that would have made them bowl eligible going back to last year. Obviously not the ones that they won today, but
that was a great
just letting people know. There you have it. All right, let's go on the hotline. We got Devin. Devin, thanks for hanging on, man. What's on your mind?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep. What's up, Devin?
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to respond to the game. I know we talked like Matt Rule assessing what needs to be done to get better. I'm looking at the game and analyzing it. It's like, especially on the offensive side, it's like everything seems to be hard. We get that key first down. It's the hardest first down ever. We complete a pass. The guy has to dive all the way across the United States to grab the ball and get one of our biggest completions of the entire game. We get to the red zone. It takes us 3 attempts in the second half to finally get 7 on the board, and we miss the PAT. So it's like everything, even in the Ohio State game, which was one of our better games, offensively, everything seems to be hard. Like we have to really grind it out just to get a little bit of points here and there. And that if anything, like if I'm Matt Rule, I'm looking at what can I do to help simplify things, make it easier on that side of the ball. And defensively, we're losing basically to dip and dives to the running backs and tight ends. Like these teams aren't doing nothing extravagant; they're doing simple things on that side of the ball. So I'm looking down at that as well. So that's all I wanted to say. Like, I wish it was easier for us right now.
Appreciate it, Devin. I thank you. I would say this, Jay. I mean, in terms of his critiques offensively, I just don't know who the leader is for Nebraska offensively. I don't know if it's somebody up front on that offensive line. I wouldn't say it is. I don't know what receiver it is. I don't know if there's a running back that's really a leader in that room. Dylan has not played very well. I'll be honest. Dylan's not played very well the last month and a game now, the last 5 or 4 games, because Nebraska had a bye in October. Like, he hasn't played well. And through it all, I think that's a piece of it. Devin, to your point, I think another thing, it goes to what Jay's talked extensively about the execution piece. Guys can't get off the line. They're not that. We'll go watch the all 22, Jay, and there's guys jogging routes. There's guys not the want to piece of it isn't always there. It feels like offensively.
Yeah,
and you can't put that on. Like, there's a lot of negativity around Marcus Satterfield, and he can scheme up a great route combo, and they can protect up front. But if you don't have dogs, like, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, and I think that's not. I mean, look, everybody's like, oh, well, look, you know, why don't we run this certain play? It don't matter what play you run. It really don't matter what defense you run if you don't execute. So I think that's the hard conversations that have to have, and the conversations can't be the same ones as before.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't a one of those like closed door meetings, players only meetings after you like you know. The bottom hasn't fell out. Now, it's pretty low, but the bottom hasn't fell out. This conversation is about finishing, about legacy, about what my expectations are. And you know what? I got to be a little bit more damn demanding.
Yeah. Another thing is, like, I don't need to see, like, I being like media. We don't need to see it on social media either.
No, first of all, when the doors are closed, it ain't going on social media.
Yeah.
Well, that's not in my wheelhouse. All I'm saying is this conversation is a deep conversation, man to man, freshman to senior, or senior to freshman, junior to sophomore, senior to sophomore. We got. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, this isn't a finger pointing one. Okay, that I guess I could put in the cliff notes that this isn't a finger pointing one. You know what this is? This is what we got to do. Mm-hmm. Because even if I just say I was on the team and say I was doing like decent myself, I still ain't playing good enough. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we aren't playing good.
What was the thing you said earlier about something independently, but also
so here's the
collectively.
Deal. This is what made our teams good. This is what good teams do. You operate individually, right? But you think and you operate individually. You think collectively. You move collectively. And here's why. When you wake up on Saturday morning, like when I'm rolling over the game, I want to play well for plenty of reasons. I want to play well because I put a ton of time in and I care for me. I want to play well for my family. I want to play well from, where I'm from. And then I want to play well for my teammates and my, D-court, whoever, right? But I'm gonna go out there and play well because I know if the best Jay Foreman out there, that gives my team the best chance to win. But here's what I don't do. I don't play selfishly. I play selfless. That's the difference. Because you can play well without having a huge stat line. That's the difference. Because here for example, say when they were running that toss play, right?
Yeah.
Say I took on that little pipsqueak, like receiver, right? Threw him off and got into the tackle, and then somebody came up and made a tackle for loss. That's a pretty damn good play. That's a play where I'm individually taking upon myself to play better for my teammates, and it's within the defensive scheme.
Let's go back to the hotline. We got Jeff. He's the last call tonight before we wrap it up. Jeff, what's on your mind? Thanks for being patient.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, I guess it comes down to the end of the game, and Jay, total respect to you. I love your feedback on everything. Does it come down to Sat putting Dylan into bad positions, or Dylan just not playing well? When kind of what I saw at the end of the game, it looked like Harburg sat in the pocket, played well, threw well. Why not throw him in earlier to give a spark when you know that your starting quarterback isn't doing much of anything? Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. I mean, we've talked about that in the last couple of weeks because a lot of people have been going for Dylan Raiola to get benched for a series or sat down and let somebody else do it. What do you respond to, Jeff?
Look, man, this is the quarterback. Dylan's the quarterback. This is the franchise. Everybody, you know who the favorite person of the team is? The backup.
The most popular person.
Most popular is a backup quarterback. Dylan's our best option. Yes, he could play better, but so people listen. I'm gonna say this again, and I want you to knock on the door. Rashawn need to get in.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna say this again, and I hope everybody listening. And I said this at the beginning of the season. I said this when he was committed. In order for this to be successful for Dylan in this first year, and this is why they went out and got guys in the portal, is that everybody around him has to raise their level of play. That's not meaning Dylan's not talented. That doesn't mean Dylan isn't the best quarterback. That doesn't mean that there isn't going to be lean times like we're in it right now. But everybody else got to play better. You got to raise your level of game up with you, around you. The reason why I know, because I was there as a freshman. I started as a redshirt freshman. Everybody else knew they had to kind of bring me along until I kind of got my training wheels off. You get what I'm saying? So, like, and there's plenty of blame to go around. But the solution isn't saying, okay, well Dylan didn't play well when everybody else isn't playing well. So since he's the quarterback, we got to put one in because we had a little snapshot of Heinrich Harburg. Not saying that Harburg wasn't good down the stretch. What I'm saying is this is our quarterback. This is a 19-year-old kid, 18, 19-year-old kid. You get what I'm not kid, but 18, 19, he's a true freshman. We need guys around him to play better, significantly better. You get my drift?
Yeah.
And then he needs to play significantly better. But you can't expect, I guess, what, Patrick Mahomes or whatever. We're seeing Patrick Mahomes right now. Tom Brady at year 20 or 18 when he won that last Super Bowl, I played against him when he was early in his career.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the same dude. The guys around him need to play well, play better.
All right, so unfortunately, this is going to be in the back of Husker fans' minds for the next 2 weeks until Nebraska travels to USC in a couple of weeks. Bye week next Saturday. Jay, where do you go?
You got to win I'm just joking. You got to win the bye week, but what you have to do is you got to get back to work.
Because that game against USC is quite interesting. It was going to be interesting.
You can't worry about USC right now.
Well,
right now, your number one opponent is ourselves. Mm-hmm. Now, it's different. In years past, it's been penalties, right? We play kickball with the football sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Right now, it's us playing better. We got to get better. We got to work on the fundamentals. We got to get better defensively and offensively of knowing the ins and outs of it. And then we got to find, you know what? We got to have a little want to. Right?
There you go.
We got to tackle better. We got to block better on the perimeter. We got to block. We got to do all that stuff better. Then we worry about USC. And that's not taken away from, but yes, it is interesting.
Because it's fascinating because you did not expect USC to be 4-4. They got a tough one tonight on the road at Washington.
Play? Oh, that's an L. So they're going to be 4-5. So they're going to be desperate again. So there you go. So that
you want to talk about a mental health game for fan bases?
Oh, this is the hot seat. You talk about over there
with Lincoln Riley?
Oh yeah,
but no. So no Jay Foreman postgame show next Saturday, but we're there. We're here the following Saturday, here or there.
Yeah, we'll be in effect. I don't know if we're going. I ain't going out there. That's a long flight.
Nebraska's 5-4. Jay, we got 15 seconds. Take it away.
I mean, onward. I mean, I'm disappointed like everybody else, but I think, I think I do have faith that they can turn it around. The only way it goes up. We're out of here. I appreciate you guys, man. We're turning it over here. Jay Foreman postgame show. We'll holla.
The electrical workers of local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through November 3rd, enjoy 8-ounce USDA Choice Bacon Wrapped Sirloin Fillets for $4.99 each. USDA Choice Whole New York Strip Loins $9.99 per pound. 4-ounce fresh salmon portions $4.99 each. And Fairway Bakery Pies $12.99. Buy one, get one free. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Hey farmers, wouldn't it be nice if you could cut your herbicide cost by up to 85%? Now you can with Green Eye technology for your sprayer. Green Eye's system integrates seamlessly with your current sprayer and works by identifying and spraying only the weeds. Reduce the threat of herbicide resistance, be environmentally friendly, and save a ton of money. Oh, and there's no acres fee. This is the precision spraying solution you've been waiting for. Contact Boyk Farmers Outfitters to get set up with Green Eye or check them out at BOECK
Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and is currently searching for journeyman plumbers to join their team. Experience is preferred, but not required for all applicants. When you join the team at Davis Plumbing, you'll receive full benefits package with paid time off. Join a small local business doing big things in Lincoln and surrounding areas. Apply today by calling 402-525-6922 or find them on social media. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
Hi, I'm State Senator Bo Ballard. I was born and raised right here in Lancaster County. I understand the value of hard work by being involved in our family business. I built my own company, creating jobs right here in our community. Nebraska families and business owners need lower taxes, more affordable health care, and a great education system. That is why I fought for the largest tax cut in Nebraska history, reduce the cost of healthcare, and help pass the biggest investment in our public schools. I'm Senator Bo Ballard, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th, paid for by Ballard for Nebraska.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Hi, this is Investigator Joe Villamonte with the Lincoln Police Union, asking you to vote for Carolyn Bosin for legislator. As a prosecutor, Carolyn Bosin has always supported law enforcement to keep our community safe. Carolyn Bosin has the experience we need. Carolyn Bosin is the only choice for legislator to keep our community safe. Join the law enforcement community in voting to keep our community safe. Vote Carolyn Bosin on November 5th.
Paid for by Bosin for Legislature.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Across Nebraska, voters will have the chance to end the current government abortion ban. The government shouldn't be making decisions for families' health care, but right now they are. Ending the ban takes 2 votes, a vote against 434, the first initiative, and then a vote for 439, the last initiative. It's only this combination that will finally get the government out of the personal medical decisions of Nebraska families. Voting against 434 and for 439 ensures that when there's a medical emergency, it's Nebraska families who decide what to do, not the government. This vote against 434 and for 439 makes it so our Nebraska doctors can treat every patient. The government put this ban in place, stripping Nebraska families of their freedom, but you can end it with 2 votes. The first against 434, and then vote for 439. Paid for by Protect Our Rights.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer and 8-year NFL veteran for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Jay Foreman Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Tavern 180, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical.
We're back, switching up the conversation. Austin Norman with you, joined as always by Chancellor Brewington. Nebraska falls 27-20 to UCLA. Bowl eligibility waits at least 2 more weeks, not even 1 more week. Nebraska has a bye week before traveling out to take on the other LA school, Big Brother, I should say. Chancellor, there's a lot.
There's a
Where are
whole
you
lot.
at to start?
There's a whole lot. I mean, obviously, you want to get this done. You want to get this done. You want to go bowling, get that 8-year drought, that monkey off your back, as some people say. You're coming off a exciting loss, if that's the right term. People believe in moral victories with the Ohio State game. You're thinking there's going to be some type of carryover, right?
Mm-hmm.
You played really good on defense. Offense, I would say they had a pickup game since the Indiana loss, of course. So you don't know what you're going to get this week, right? We talked about it in the pregame show, me and Carrick, or we talked about, the Indiana game, right? That was a different football team. And then Ohio State looked like a completely different football team. Hair on fire, playing really good, executing at a, pretty good rate, especially defensively. And then we come out this game and, it's 10-0 quick, and things aren't clicking on the offensive end. There's no rhythm. UCLA had our number defensive or on their defensive side. And we just couldn't get anything going. You get some going, during third quarter, but it ends up being too late. It's disappointing. I know the fans are disappointed. I know the players are disappointed. I know the coaches are as well. And we talked about it right before the segment, is like, it'd be easy to just play the blame game and just say, hey, Satterfield, or hey, this certain player, right? Or whatever you want to do, but you can't do it this game. It's a collective group. And as a player, I've been in a lot of losses like this, sadly. But I've been in games where, you're better than the other team. You're just clear out better. You have a better football team, better record as well. You just can't get it done. And I think the conversations after this game, I think Jay hit it on the head, is, you got to look at yourself, right? And there needs to be some type of leadership inside the locker room, of course, stemming from the head coach. But at the end of the day, the players need to take accountability and say, okay, we need to pick it up. And going into the bye week, this is not the time to lay down. This is not the time to say the season is over. By no means. A lot of football left, 3 games left. And you want to send your seniors out on a good note. USC, I'm pretty sure they're getting beat by Washington right now. They're a beatable football team. Wisconsin is a beatable football team. So is Iowa. So you have opportunities. It's not like, the sky's falling. But I know people are sick of it. I'm sure the players are sick of it. And you got to find a way to rally after this. And going into a bye week, I mean, it's not going to be fun. You know, this is gonna sting for a while. This is probably going to sting until you play next or 2 weeks.
Well, it needs to sting, right? We've heard, it's disappointing. We thought we were going to be better than this too many times.
Right.
I will believe that this program and this team is disappointed when something changes. It was one of the first things that I asked Nick when I hopped down with him before Jay got here. How has Nebraska gotten better? Have you seen improvement from Nebraska in some areas? Because we've seen UCLA get better from where they were at the start of the year on through. Colorado is not the same team it was when Nebraska beat them. Illinois might not be as good as they were when Nebraska played them. They're maybe backsliding. Maybe same with Rutgers. But UCLA is better. Ohio State looks better. I mean, yeah, Nebraska put up more points and yards on Ohio State than Penn State did. But again, moral victory, not necessarily worth talking about there. Rutgers, not great, but they improved offensively, right, against UCLA. Where has Nebraska gotten better? Has Nebraska gotten better in any area?
Yeah, I think this is the fourth quarter of the year, right? This is the last 4 games, and it's tough, you know, our last 3 games coming up, and it's super tough because, you know, your game, you start off good, right? You start off Illinois. It seems like, man, this is going to be an interesting year, and then all of a sudden, you know, we take a dive Purdue game, right? And then you're thinking we can pick it back up. Rutgers, you know, kind of that middle ground. You're like, man, we can pick it up next week, and then Indiana. You know, I don't really know if there's a specific area where we got better at. You know, it looked like offensively, Illinois game, we got it figured out, right? The Colorado Lowell, you know, you and I thinking we're going to score a bunch more points and we just don't. Thinking it looked like we figured it out, Illinois game, and we just haven't. And I feel like we've been slowly declining offensively. Picked up a little bit Ohio State week, but there's still so many troubles. And then defensively, it's like a toss up every week. You don't really know what you're going to get. And it's tough. And, you know, if you're opposing team, you're always, you probably feel like you're always in the game, right? You know, whether Nebraska's beating you, whether, you know, you're down, whatever it is, you probably feel like you're always in the game because Nebraska has kind of showed up to this point that they are who they are, right? They're not I would say a sound and disciplined football team, which is unfortunate, obviously, because you want them to be.
I don't remember who tweeted it out, but I saw someone say something to the effect of Nebraska's just kind of in bizarro world, right? When you think Nebraska is going to have momentum, it's a team that comes out flat. And then when they're up against it, their backs are against the wall, that's when they're energized, they're excited, they're having fun with it, they're playing some good football. I hate to attach this term, this moniker to a team. The Chancellor kind of feels like front running. Right? If you can only get up for the big games, that's not disciplined. That's not consistent. That's not championship mindset. That was my biggest question all week. Matt Rule said he felt the shift to championship mindset at halftime of Ohio State. My question all week was, how much do you trust Nebraska to carry that over? They didn't at all. Yeah, they found some stuff in the second half, but championship mindset gets going from the get-go. Championship mindset buries teams early. To Nebraska's credit, it was only down 13-7 at half, despite what Matt Rule called one of the worst halves of football they ever played.
Right.
Players weren't good enough. Coaches weren't good enough. And maybe that's physical, but there's got to be a mental aspect there as well.
Yeah, for sure. You go 10-0 and it seemed like nothing was working. I mean, nothing was working. And you're right. There has to be some type of championship mindset. You know, Ohio State, they go up early, and all of a sudden, you know, you see guys respond right away. I just didn't see it this game. It looked like kind of the repeat of Indiana, in a sense.
But Indiana poured it on.
Right.
Nebraska didn't respond.
Right. I'll say, you know, UCLA just isn't Indiana, right?
Yeah.
If you were playing a better team, those lapses, you know, the score margin would have gotten a lot greater than just 10 points.
And that's maybe what I think too, is that when I ask if Nebraska's getting better, where they've gotten better, it seems like other teams are. Maybe Nebraska is actually executing at the same level it was at the start of the year. But guess what? Competition's gotten tougher.
Right.
Right. So if you're executing at the same level you were in week 1, maybe you haven't gotten worse, but you're not getting better, and it looks worse because the talent level rises, because the coaching ability it rises, it gets better there. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. And that's kind of where Nebraska's at right now.
Yeah, it's really hard. I would say it's really hard to start a game off and not be physical. I saw that really early. Like there's just a lot of times where, guys could run to the football. They, just kind of jogging over there offensively, not really finishing blocks, not really taking pride. Receivers, we saw it again, starting the game off. I mean, you watched it together, perimeter blocking. Guys weren't covering up, bodies. Like I saw a lapse physically. And so that carries over. That carries over. And when you don't start a game, when you don't start a game with physicality, the second, third quarter, fourth quarter, that catches up to you.
If you don't start a game with physicality, you can't finish a game with it. And that is what Matt Rule says he wants. Is that Nebraska, he wants to set the tone early and then set the tone late, right? Obviously, every coach wants to do that, wants to win the middle eight and then win the last eight, whatever it is, right? Matt Rule is preaching fourth quarter team. Matt Rule is preaching run the ball, be more physical. That's not who this team is.
Yeah.
It's not who this team is. If that's what they're building to, why don't we see more of a commitment to the run in the first and second quarters? If you're down 10 points in the first half, game's not over. You get the ball to start the second half. You don't have to go away from the run. Just because you're down, 10 points doesn't mean you have to flip that switch. Oh, guess we have to pass now. No. If you're a physical team, you stay the course. Nebraska is not physical, despite that's what the head coach is saying, which tells me one of two things, Chancellor. Either he's lying to his team or he's lying to us.
And I wonder if it's one of those things, Austin, where it's like, we try to beat it into the guy. So I'm going to keep saying it, and hopefully it manifests on the field. I almost wonder if it's that type of thing. Because it's a coin flip if they're going to come out strong. And I think the first quarter, we talk about not finishing, right? Fourth quarter. But I think the first quarter is we're seeing the same problem, right? We're coming out, letting, defensively, we talk about Indiana defensively, UCLA defensively, Illinois defensively, UNI. Like we're seeing, this team come out first quarter and not have the attentive, I would say to detail, but also physicality like we're talking about. And I think now, it poses the question, the flip sides on the offense is like, where's this offensive team at? Like, where are we going to go from here? Obviously, Raiola, had some struggles, of course, and we've seen his game decline. But I always put the asterisk there, because I feel as if and we're going to talk about this, I feel as if we just get some rhythm going and we don't, UCLA sending zero blitz, playing man behind it. And all of a sudden we're trying to take a 3-man shot deep, right? Like every single time. And he's having to roll out to the right and throw away to start off the game. He's like 1 for 7. Why is he 1 for 7? Because there's no outlet. It's not like, on these concepts, there's a hot read or something like that. Right. There's no dink and dunk. There's no quick game. Everything is shot. So it gets really hard. It gets really, really hard for a quarterback to all of a sudden have to make the tough throw to Ja'Cory, have to make the tough throw to Isaiah Nair, which he did, but I think it would help him out a lot. It's just getting something established early.
Indiana heated Dylan Raiola up. Ohio State continued that. UCLA might have taken it to another level. But Chancellor, here's the layup. How do you beat a team zero blitzing? What's the call you go to?
Yeah, I mean, you got to get the ball out some type of way. There's a time.
Quick.
Quick. Of course, obviously, I know people might feel some type of way, but a screen is a great answer to it, which is tough. We didn't see any of those.
Not a one.
Yeah.
After too many last week, none this week, when it would have been the right answer.
Yeah. I mean, any type of mesh, any type of crossers, pick plays, rub plays, stuff like that. And we've hit a lot of them, and maybe spreading guys out, getting some mismatches, stuff like that, making them get out of it. I think that's the biggest thing is, once you see a team zero blitz, you want to get them out of it as fast as possible and find an answer. But, it seemed like we were stuck to what we were going to run and we weren't going to go outside of it, right? We're going to have Fedoni in our running back in for our max protection shot when we know they sent in the house, right? And then it seemed like that was what we're doing. And it just didn't work at the end of the day. That was the scheme. That was the game plan, and it didn't work.
Does Nebraska not have some of those easy throws baked into the offense, or is 15 missing them right now?
Yeah, no, I don't think there was a bunch of them early. I think there was maybe a couple I remember that we were talking about, I think second quarter, there was a couple where like, man, you could have took some easy there. But also, when, every offense has quick game. Every offense is installed in fall camp, right? But when you don't use it, I guess it's troubling, right? It's troubling because you can help out your O-line as well, right? And you can get your quarterback going, but it's definitely in the offense, right? It's definitely in the offense. We're just not utilizing it.
They've got to be there, right? Every offense needs to have concepts like that. But that's, again, the difference between what you saw from UCLA and what you saw from Nebraska. If Nebraska wants to feature Thomas Fidone or getting more involved, like Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield said earlier in the week, play to his strengths. We saw that same route that Thomas Fidone hasn't gotten more than 5 yards on this year, and that's Nebraska's quick outlet to him. What does UCLA do? Leak their tight end late across the formation. Again, make it hard for the linebacker trailing him to sort through traffic. Get it to the guy with a head of steam. It's a 2-on-1. Linebacker commits to the quarterback. Hey, look, easy flip. Linebacker stays back with the tight end. Hey, guess what? Quarterback can take off and run with the tight end, lead blocking for him right there. That's a play that every Big Ten team has in its playbook. We've seen every Big Ten West team run that against Nebraska. We have not once seen it from Nebraska.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be the difference between Eric Bieniemy having coached Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Marcus Satterfield not. That should not be the difference. We know the staff is more than happy to take a concept it likes from somewhere else and plug it in. This one works. We haven't seen that since I've been watching Nebraska football.
Right.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, what's his name? Bieniemy?
Yeah.
He did a great job calling that game. I mean, Gabriel, he played lights out. I mean, when I talk about, that was his peak performance of the year. I mean, he tops it off over, I would say that tops it over his Rutgers performance last week. But man, I mean, offensively, this now poses the question for real. Like, where are we going to go with this offense? Like, obviously I would say, like we talk about, it's not Coach Rule's MO to just get rid of a guy midseason. And I don't think you do. You got 3 games left, but you got to figure out something. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if you bring in Harburg to try to help, confuse some stuff, but Raiola answered it like this. He was asked, what's going on with the offense, and he talked about just getting the playmakers the ball, right? And it's simple as that, just getting the playmakers the ball early, let them make guys miss, get yak. And obviously, you got to depend on your perimeter, but there's some ways you can get to that.
We've got that quote from Dylan Raiola. Here's QB1 about how the offense can improve.
Yeah, I think, it starts with me getting the ball in the playmakers' hands. And yeah, we got to go look at it. I think like the second half we started getting it going, but fortunately it was too late. And we'll take a look at it and we'll make sure we get it addressed and fixed.
Man,
there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
It's the coach speed. I mean, Dylan Raiola probably didn't need much media training when he got to Nebraska, right? He says a lot of the same things. Tone of voice and what he doesn't say is just as important as what he actually does say. To me, Chancellor, that sounds like a guy that thinks he knows the answer, but can't say it in that setting.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's part of the answer there. There's a third of the answer there. I think it was get the ball to the playmakers, right? And I would allude to getting the ball quickly to the playmakers to where, he's not having to wait. It seems like all of our passing concepts are, a 25 to, I would say 15 and plus yard progression or concept, right? And it takes all day. You need 7 guys or 8 guys to block for you, or 7 guys to block for you for 2 guys to get or 3 guys to get open, right? And so those type of things, that's not really getting your playmakers the ball. You need to get your playmakers the ball right away. That's why the jet sweeps are so efficient. But you can't do those all the time, right? Guys catch on to them, right? So you got to find another way. And so I think that's obviously where quick game gets in. But there's frustration from him. And he does a fantastic job. I'll say this. He does a fantastic job taking ownership. And I think that's what this team needs to do. They need to take ownership of the performance they put on tape, coaches as well. And I think within groups, you need to find a way to come collectively and just say, hey, like, what's the issue in our group? Not on the team, not in the offense, not in the defense. Okay, tight ends, what's our issue? Okay, we're not executing the run game, blocking, and that's leaving holes. And, we're not communicating well. We're not aligning and assigning, Fidone's on the ball in 2-minute drill. We get a 5-yard penalty. It's like things like that. If that's the issue, okay, let's fix that, right? And every group needs to do that. And I think that will help, right? But as far as play calling and this, a player can only do so much.
A player can only do so much, but they have to maximize when they're on the field. It does go back to coaching as well. When I think about getting playmakers the ball, part of it is play calling, but part of it is, who's actually in the game. Did you notice which running back finished the game?
Was it Emmett?
It was Emmett.
Yeah.
Didn't see him till the second quarter. If you're going to get playmakers the ball, if you trust him in crunch time, why don't you trust him earlier in the game? I know you think Dante Dowdell's the physical back if you're in Nebraska. You want him to, soften defenses up, and maybe Emmett Johnson can finish. Dante Dowdell is not so physical and not so overwhelmingly physical that he's softening defenses up because that's not even your identity. And then even like the touchdown to Isaiah Nair.
Right.
They throw it up to him. It's a one-on-one at the bottom of the TV screen. Nebraska probably thinks it's more than a 50-50 ball, which is essentially what a fade is. Okay, let's say it's a 60-40 or 75-25 ball. Fine, whatever. Then you try to throw that same one to Jamal Banks, who did not create any separation at all. If you want to get the ball to your playmakers, you have to give them 90-10 opportunities or 95-5 opportunities, not just try to get lucky and winning 50-50s all the time.
Yeah, that one was frustrating, especially on the second down where corners.
You ran for 5 yards on the first play.
Yeah. You run the football good. Corners outside leverage, funneling into the safety. They really know what's coming. That's something we've been super vanilla on and consistent on is first or second down throwing a quick fade. But in that particular scenario, you got to be creative a little bit more. To know you run the football well and maybe do something off of that or just stay with it, right? Up to that point, that's what was winning. But yeah, I mean, this is just a tough one to process. This is gonna hurt going into bye week. This is gonna really hurt. And of course, I'm sure the fans are like, man, let it hurt, right? But as a player, it's difficult. It's really difficult. I remember, I would say this one for me was like similar to more of I would say the last 3 games the last 2 games have been similar to the 3-9 year in 21 of, just losing, being down against Purdue, right. And then having to come back or Iowa, all those games like that. The morale of the team, we had a lot of come to Jesus moments. You think you fix it, right? That's the thing. You think you fix it during the bye week, or you think you fix it in a close loss to a really good team. And then you go play a lesser team. Like when we go play Ohio State good, in 21, we play a next team who's not as good as Ohio State, thinking it would carry over, and then all of a sudden, we're down Purdue's 28-0, right? And so you're like, what? I thought we fixed it, right? And I don't know what the answer is. Only they can figure it out, because we can speculate. They know the issue. They know the problem.
We can try to write the prescription, but guess what? It's not going to go through.
Exactly.
So this is a good spot to take our first break. We'll be back at the top of the hour. Go for another 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. We'll take your thoughts as well, 402-464-5685. Plenty more to get to here on the postgame show.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
This is Shane Podliska, mortgage lender at Lincoln Federal Savings Bank. I'm here to help you achieve your goal, the American dream of home ownership. Whether you're buying your first home or looking to refinance, I've got the experience and know-how to make it happen. So let's tackle this together. Call me, Shane Podliska, and let's get you into the end zone of home ownership. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Go Big Red.
Personal banking like you remember.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay,
playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
It's the greatest time of the year again. Kickoff is here and football is officially back. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog, and this year you can too. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up with promo code EARLY, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code EARLY to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 19 plus in Nebraska and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Early break.
Dick Libby is alive. He was the head coach. He would back me on this. One time he came to social studies class, pulled me out, and said, I want you to consider going out for football. And I didn't. I pretty much dismissed it right away. No, I can't. I'm not going to do that.
Just because of your dominance in baseball, didn't want to risk the injuries for the potential scholarship. That was it.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Couple Chevrolet GMC, and we want to thank all of our customers for a great September. And now it's time for our annual Halloween sales event happening right now at Koppel. Get 0% financing at Koppel. You heard right, 0% financing on select new models. Also, huge discounts up to $11,500 are available. It's our annual Halloween sales event. Get $11,500 off or 0% financing at Koppel. So please stop on by or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did 0% with roof credit.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Tavern 180, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical.
My philosophy has been in those situations, like you're in a 2-for-1 situation, so you want to score before the 2-minute. So at 4:38, I know everyone was kind of upset. The crowd was, I think at one point, Howard, try to get everyone to calm down. I understand why, but we knew, we had 2 timeouts. We had the 2-minute conversion. We wanted to get in the right plays. Again, some of those things. Ramir Johnson went down. Elijah Judy went down. The quarterback went down. So trying to get the right people in the game to run some of those red zone plays, was a little bit difficult. And then with what they do, right? You're getting up there and it's either cover 2 or 0 blitz. So you're kind of having to check some things. So, but in the end, it worked, right? We scored the touchdown. We scored it with 3:20 left. We stopped them. They punted the ball back to us and we had 2:30 and we had a chance to go down and score. And in this league, if you have the ball at the end with a chance to go score and tie or win a game, that's Big Ten football. And, we just didn't make the plays once we crossed the 50 you have to make. And obviously that penalty was big.
That's Nebraska head coach Matt Rule when he was asked if the pace of Nebraska's last touchdown drive was what he wanted. Austin Orman, Chancellor Brewington back with you. Chancellor, you hear that quote from Matt Rule. What are you hearing? Do you agree, disagree with what Matt Rule had to say?
I agree. But the drive that Dylan got hurt on, I thought there was a real lackadaisicalness of the offense, not a sense of urgency. I understand the huddle. I really do. I understand the huddle. I love communicating effectively, making sure everyone is on the same page. But when you get in, like, I would treat that kind of as a 2-minute drill almost, because, from 10-minute, it ended up being like a 4, 5, 6-minute drive. And then the goal, I would say the goal of that is you want to get the ball back with 6 minutes left. And, you don't score right there. Of course, you go for it and you don't get it. But I would just say the urgency of that drive, usually you bring your receivers, or you leave your receivers out, and you do this muddle. We call it muddle instead of huddle, right? So you leave your skill guys out. They get the signal, right? Get the formation, the signal, the play. And, your interior guys huddle, right? And it seemed like there's just a lackadaisicalness. And then all of a sudden, when we try to do 2-minute and we, as a drive to win the game, guys aren't lining up right. We're not used to tempo. We're not used to 2-minute. Fedoni's on the ball, this, and this, right? All of a sudden, Riolas have to motion, receiver or tight end over because they're in the wrong spot, and you're not really acclimated to tempo in 2-minute. But I thought the 2-minute execution was subpar. You obviously give yourself a chance to win the game. That's the biggest thing. You give yourself a chance, right? But the execution within that just wasn't good enough, of course.
Heinrich Harburg looked a little rusty coming back out there at times, right? Not much of a push the first couple plays that he was in there inside the 5-yard line, but I think everyone in the stadium knew what was coming, whether they were on the sideline or in the stands. Runs out of bounds.
Yeah,
Whit
that
got
was
out of bounds,
questionable.
but for 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, managed to pick it up and convert anyways. But Chancellor, I really strongly disagree with Matt Rule in what he said. It worked the way they wanted it to.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't believe that.
It didn't.
No, the reason that I don't think it worked is because your offense isn't trustworthy enough to say, if we get the ball back, we're going to score. If this was an offense that was putting up, even 28 points per game, let alone, Miami, Ohio State, whoever that can score in one play,
Right.
sure, fine. You did get the last possession, and maybe they were going to go for 2 to win the game, which, hey, guess what? Missed extra point, ended up not mattering,
Right.
but could have loomed large, which we didn't. Brian Buschini talked. We didn't get an explanation on what went wrong there. Anyways, Nebraska did not have 6 minutes to waste because of the type of team Nebraska is. If this is the type of team that Nebraska wants to be, or if this is a tie game, okay, fine. You took 6 minutes off the clock, you put points on the board, and then your defense did the job. You got the 3 and out. Tough call. UCLA had a 4th and 1, elected to punt it. I thought Deshaun Foster was going to go for it. I thought he was going to try to end the game right there.
Yeah.
I see both sides of it. I think the way that they were running with a play caller like Eric Bieniemy, you trust the way that offense was moving the ball to get 1 yard, one play, and put a dagger in that right there. Anyways, I digress. Nebraska got the ball back with 9 minutes and 58 seconds on the clock, down 2 possessions. You're lucky if you touch the ball twice there, right? So you're planning that you have one more possession after that.
Yeah.
Nebraska is not so good, not so consistent in how it executes on offense. It is not consistently tuned in with the details. It is not consistently accurate on passes or blocking or any of that, to assume that you're going to make the most of one possession when you haven't done it for 10 years. And I get it. Matt Rule say, it's 10 years before our nuts. We just have the last 2 or the last year and a half or whatever. That's fine. But you have to know the team you have, not the team you want. You have to know that you have to give your team multiple opportunities at the end zone. If you have an older veteran team that you trust to go down the field, okay, fine. Take 6 minutes, get the stop, and then you take your chances with it. Makes a lot more sense in a tie game or in an offense that had actually moved the ball consistently for 3 quarters instead of like a quarter and a half.
Yeah, it seems like, and I've been on teams and I've hated it because I've always thought, like, man, when we get the ball, we're gonna go score. It seems like, when we got the ball with the 2 minutes left, it was like hoping on a prayer that we're gonna get the first down, right? And it just looked like
and hope is not a strategy.
Right. Hope is not a strategy. And the consistency in that, there's no consistency in that, to be point blank and period. And we've had opportunities throughout the year to, 2-minute Ohio State, Illinois, to go make something happen. We just haven't. And I would say the goal of that first drive, 9 minutes we talked about, is to get the ball, is to score within 6 minutes, right? And I think that was where the lackadaisicalness was in, from 6 minutes on, you're like taking all day, hiking the ball at 5 seconds, and not getting the play call. Guys are getting lined up late. Like, it's just those type of things that I would see. It's just pretty obvious that guys aren't confident out there playing, and it's frustrating. I think that stems from what they're hearing, and maybe maybe they don't have the lack of faith in the play calling as well. And that's obviously speculation.
And if you need to huddle, that's fine. But you got to get everyone in the huddle right away, and you still got to snap the ball at 10 or 12 instead of at 5?
Yeah. I mean, snap it as fast as possible, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's Raiola's young. The offense is young. You still
But even when Harburg was there, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah. I don't know. It takes an offense that wants to score, that wants to be on the field in that time. Like, it's like, Kobe get the ball, 5 seconds left. Like, he want the ball, right? Like, offense should want the ball to go down and score. But obviously when you're not putting up production, you're not scoring, when it's, a freebie, right? What type of confidence, what type of self-belief would you have in the tough moment to go win a football game?
That part
wouldn't have much, right?
That part, no, you wouldn't. Let's go to the text line here. 1010 says Heinrich Harburg looked better than Raiola. He looks like a better choice at quarterback.
No, I can't get behind that. I really can't. I appreciate the opinion of course, but I can't get behind that. The only and the reason I'll say is that you're limited now. Now you just put yourself in a really, really thin box, and you're back to last year, right? With Raiola, at least. If you're run the football good with the actual running back, you can, release some pressure in the passing game, of course. But if you have Heinrich there, you limit yourself in the passing game, what you can do. And now if the run isn't working, you have no offense for real, like legit this time, right? And we kind of saw that with the 2-minute drill. Of course, a couple good throws. But if you start Heinrich and you go with Heinrich, I'm not saying he's whatever, but the way this offense is this year is we haven't established a run game. So if you bring Heinrich in there and you want to run the football and it doesn't work, then you're kind of out of luck.
You really are. And yes, Nebraska did move the ball downfield. That final drive, let me get it pulled back up. I switched back. Started at the
about 28.
Yeah, Nebraska's trying quick math, minus 21. Yeah, 28, 29 yard line. You get down to the UCLA 40. They rush a lot of people on a couple plays. They sit back and kind of prevent defense a couple plays. So yes, Heinrich Harburg did move the offense part of the way down the field, but you still saw him throwing off platform, and everything is still a fastball. Sure, better than last year, but still not perfect. And that's why I personally appreciated that Dylan Raiola didn't get benched. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch at times. Maybe he does need a breather, but guess what? You're playing college football. You're not doing the Anthony Richardson tap out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a Colts fan, so I can say that.
Oh, boy.
I'm a Colts fan. I can say that. I'm glad that Dylan Raiola didn't. He would never ask out of the game, right? At least you hope not.
That's not in him.
He's a young guy who's got to learn through. And we saw last week, he's a smart enough processor, right? Ohio State brings a lot of pressure. He doesn't hit the hot route. Guess what? Next time they do that in a critical moment, get it to Nair down to the 1 yard line. He can learn. Dylan Raiola was not helping Nebraska in the first half. But with him in the game, you saw some of the throws he ripped to Ja'Cory Barney. You saw the one to Isaiah Nair up the sideline at the end of the third quarter. That is not something Nebraska could afford to lose at that point of the game, which makes him not knowing how to get down or not knowing how to run with force, one or the other, hurt even more when he's down writhing in pain.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, at this point, he got you here. He got you to 5 wins, right? If you don't have him, you're not even in the Illinois game at all. Right. I mean, you're not even close. I mean, you don't win the Colorado game, and even Rutgers game. Like, there's a bunch of different areas where, Raiola is the reason why you're this far. And I know people are like, man, he's throwing pick after pick each game, whatever. But we just got to keep rocking with him. We have to. And I think that's mandatory. And I think I would hope that's a unanimous decision between the coaching staff that, if 15's healthy, he has an extra week to heal up, of course. You just got to stick with it and know that, there's freshman growing pains. We're seeing them in real time. But it's how you bounce back from it, of course. But I would say the decision making, of course, you first play off a halftime, but you bounce back and he throws a beautiful ball in there, like you talked about, and caps off the drive with a score, right? So that's what you want to see. Obviously things don't go perfect, and UCLA quarterbacks plays the game of his life, right? And that's unfortunate. If you match up their plays, right? Obviously, you tip the hat to UCLA and you keep it moving. But Yeah, I just think if you put Heinrich out there, you're limited in what you do. And moving into USC, that's offense you don't. If they catch fire, it's going to be really tough. And defensively, they're not very good. I would say they're a lot similar to UCLA. And so if you just got to be able to capitalize, because the defense they gave you, there's plenty of opportunities to capitalize against UCLA. It's not like you played the 85 Bears, right?
No,
you had opportunities. So I think Raiola gives you the best chance to win moving forward.
UCLA was, outside of the top 100 in both rush and pass defense. I think 119th against the pass, and Nebraska finally started to hit on some in the second half. You and I were having this conversation when you were sitting in back. I was talking with Nick, and I had it with him, and then I came back and had it with you. When Dylan Raiola went to re-enter the game, right? He comes off, he has to go out for a couple plays. Nebraska tries to run. It doesn't work. And then you see Dylan Raiola run back onto the field. He makes it into the huddle, or almost to the huddle, and then he's down on the ground again. His explanation in postgame was, yeah, I tried to go back out there. I don't know if it seized up or locked up on me, but it didn't feel good. I had to take myself out because I didn't feel like I gave my team the best chance to win the game.
Right.
Tinfoil hat with me here.
Yeah.
Nebraska had wasted a timeout not long before, one that they shouldn't have had to use.
Yeah.
My gut tells me, and Matt Rule deflected it as well. I wasn't part of that conversation. I didn't know Dylan went back in. I just saw him out there, and then he was down on the ground. I think that was Nebraska buying another timeout.
Yeah, that's football savvy. I mean, that, in my opinion, that's just being football savvy, knowing that you get official timeout. It's the same thing that happens, when a defensive player, offense goes for a long drive, someone's going to fake a cramp. We saw it with Shador Sanders earlier in the year with Colorado.
Right.
We see it week after week. I mean, you turn on college football, but that's a unique way to get to it, right? And I think in that moment when he's coming off the field, you kind of know where he's at. You kind of know where he's at, but you steal a possession. I'm sure Satterfield needed, just a second to process, what do we want to do with Heinrich, right? And, you get to, the play after that, which it was a little questionable in my eyes, but I understand you go, your QB lead with a motion block and, a lead block with the running back. But I definitely 100% believe that was, you steal a timeout with that, stop the clock, regather. Your coaches get to talk to some players. You get Heinrich coached up a little bit more. But in the media, you're not going to admit that, right? You're not going to admit that. Right. You're just going to, wink at it, right, and keep it moving.
Let's talk about Dylan Raiola and his mobility, right? He did scramble when Nebraska was with a goal-to-go situation. That's what got him hit. Got hit in the shoulder, got hit in the back as well. He said that's what didn't feel great. But even his movement in the pocket, Chancellor, he looks like a freshman navigating a college football pocket for the first time. When the pocket's clean, he's fine. But we know Matt Rule said that's why he was hesitant to name Dylan Raiola the starter till he cleaned up his pocket presence. Now with all the blitzing, with all the movement, and sometimes with a lack of separation, Dylan Raiola doesn't always look smooth and confident in the pocket or navigating his way out of it.
Yeah, I think there's a savviness that comes with being able to maneuver through that and also keep your eyes up and see what's happening with coverages and scramble drill with the receivers getting open. I think there's a savviness that comes with that. And, some guys have it. We saw Adrian Martinez have that throughout his tenure here. And he was able to maneuver through that and make plays and, scramble and stuff like that. Dylan Raiola is a completely different player, right? Even, Casey Thompson, Northwestern, right? We saw a little bit of that. You saw a lot of that from Chubba Purdy, right?
Yeah.
But every quarterback handles that different. And you have to take this into consideration as well. During fall camp and during, practice, nobody's live on Raiola. Nobody's touching him, right? So the only opportunity he gets to see live bullets and guys trying to tackle him is on Saturday. And, this is first real experience with Big Ten and, Power 5 football, and guys are a lot faster. I mean, that number 2 from UCLA, he's going to play on Sundays.
Woo.
He's an animal, right? And you're going to consistently see that, but I would like, I personally don't exactly know the proper techniques on how Mahomes extends his plays and how,
it's kind of a preternatural sense.
Yeah.
He just knows how to do it.
Yeah, I would say that's really it. And I think he just needs to get more reps at it and understand, just like spatial awareness, if you're exiting out the pocket to the field, right, you need to kind of lose ground to gain ground, take that deep arc. Right. We saw
banana curl.
Banana curl. Exactly. We saw that against, I believe it was Ohio State, like kind of, he goes around the left tackle, Dean's able to grab him, doesn't get enough separation right there. But those little things, I would say, But also, he's not, I wouldn't say he's the fastest guy. He's, not the quickest guy. And so that's not working for him. So, and I think quick game helps that out, right? You're putting him in a lot of situations where he's having to roll out to the right, roll out to the left, do this, do that. And the ball's in his hands. He has to wait, 4 seconds for a route concept. I think that's where quick game gets in to help him out and make him feel like, oh, I don't need to scramble because I got an outlet here. And I'll admit, there was some times where you could have just checked it down. He got
taken off for 3.
Yeah,
something.
he got a little greedy, waiting for something to get open, and then all of a sudden there. But I think when you're in the constant progression of, you're getting deep crossers, or you're getting a, dagger, or if you're getting all these concepts, right, and you're always sitting back there and waiting, now you're getting a little greedy, right? Yeah. And I would of course like quick game to happen a little bit more, but with Raiola's skill set, he can make those throws. And you're also putting your O-line on a really compromised situation, especially against zero blitzes. Like, how you want to help your guys out a little bit, right? But Raiola definitely, will just continue to get more reps at evading the pocket and making guys miss within there.
Let's take a quick break. We'll talk some defense when we get back. An interesting comment that both Isaac Gifford and Ty Robinson made in their post-game presser. Chancellor Brewington, Austin Norman. We'll be right back to wrap it up.
Hi, this is State Senator Carolyn Bozin. As a state senator, wife, and mom, I believe Nebraska is a great place to work and raise a family. My husband Reggie and I are local family business owners and proud to be involved in our community. Property tax relief is important to every family. Last year, I voted for the largest property tax relief package in Nebraska history, and I will continue to advocate for property tax relief. Vote Carolyn Bozin on November 5th. Paid for by Bozin for Legislature.
Gary Michaels Clothier's 41st anniversary sale is happening now. Our entire new fall inventory of suits, sport coats, sweaters, slacks, outerwear, footwear, all now marked up to 41% off. Don't miss your opportunity to save big on brands like Marcello, Bugatti, Jack Victor, Heritage Gold, Alberto, and Zanella. It's the Gary Michaels 41st anniversary sale going on now through November 2nd. Gary Michaels Clothier's 56th and Pine Lake, right here in Lincoln.
Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Kawasaki dealership. Score big on Kawasaki's all-new Ridge lineup. The Ridge XR, the Ridge HVAC, and the Ridge Limited. All built to take on your day with a full factory cab, including heat and AC. Stop by Indian Motorcycle of Lincoln today and rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of November. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln at 27th and I-80.
Mindel Footwear is your solution against sore feet, blisters, and poor footing. Don't just take our word for it. Take it from Sip, who said he's never had a pair of boots more comfortable. You won't find Mindel Footwear in any store sold exclusively at MindelUSA.com right out of Sidney, Nebraska. They're so confident you will enjoy the comfort their boots offer. If they don't work out for you, they'll cover the shipping to return them. Use code THETICKET for free shipping because your feet deserve a treat too. Mindel Boots, just try them on.
Transform your view with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything while keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through November 12th is $2 off all crackers, $2 off on grind, $3 off on salami, and buy one, get one free on stew beef. Limit of 2. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
This show's pretty rockin', huh?
Yeah, I'm so glad my State Farm agent helped me go.
Huh?
My State Farm agent. They help me with options to personalize my auto insurance to get a great rate that fits my budget, so I don't have to give up the things I love.
Wow. Hey, so do you think I could get your State Farm agent's number?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Kreekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Tavern 180, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical.
We're back one final time here on Postgame. Austin Norman with 82. Chancellor Brewington here for another little bit. Let's talk some defense here, Chancellor. When I was listening back to the postgame presser, he had a couple single digits come up from the defense. It was Isaac Gifford and then Ty Robinson. Both of them made a little bit of an interesting comment that stood out to me just because it came from both of them. I don't know if this was a coaching point or if this is just what both guys actually believe in their heart. It's just coincidence that it came out. But both guys said something to the effect of, Nebraska is generally in position to make plays, but guys just have to start winning a higher percentage of their one-on-one opportunities.
Ooh,
what does that tell you?
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, and I feel like that's the default answer for any type of loss. Is this the most generic one? You know, you heard Sharon Moore before the Michigan or Oregon game say, we got to win one-on-ones. We got to do our 111th. But I really think in this game, I think it was a collective though, you know, I think you can go, you know, one-on-one and say, you know, DBs have to win that or, you know, linebackers have to win that. But I think defensively as a whole, there was just a lapse. It was just a lapse. It looked like there, and I would say there was a bunch of adjustments defensively. And I would say the bulk of it was the first quarter, right? If you clean up that first quarter, it's a different ball game. And then that trickles over to the second quarter as well. But yeah, I think early on, you know, Marquise Buford gets beat, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's tough, right? They run a double move on you and it's like they hit a post and you're thinking you go in post, he plants his right foot down and turns corner. Okay, yeah, that's 111th. That's a one-on-one situation. There's a couple one-on-one tackles, right? You know, you didn't wrap up. I would say they didn't tackle the best today.
Not as bad as we've seen, but not elite.
Right, not elite. But I think it's tough to say, you know, it's just like one-on-one things because you can say that every week. That I would say that's the immediate answer, and I've given that answer before. Like, yeah, we got to do, you know, everyone has to do the 111th. But if defensively, I don't really know what group it was today, you know, that needed to take the step. It just looked like UCLA just had the perfect game plan, and the offense coordinator for UCLA was scheming up.
There are a few plays that stand out to me when it comes to one-on-ones because yes, do your 111th. It's not one-on-one. It's 11 on 11. You got to do trust me, I get that. Willis McGahee the fourth.
Yeah.
Overrunning on Ethan Garbers early in that game. That has the potential for a splash play. He doesn't break down and make on that one, right? Marquise Buford, guess what? You're on an island. You get beat sometimes. That's fine. But to me, when I hear one-on-ones, I think of that as skill position guys in offense, right? Because if I get a running back with a head of steam downhill on a linebacker, like a UCLA guy on a John Bullock, if that's a 50-50, Nebraska's fine. But Emmett Johnson had an opportunity to make a guy miss, got his feet tangled up. Dante Dowdell hurdles two guys. If he's able to keep his feet that second time, you do that. Jamal Banks, when's the last time he got off press coverage? Fine against zone when he can sit in the middle of guys, but not winning one-on-ones and not winning them early necessarily. When I hear that Nebraska is getting one-on-ones, when I think about it from basketball, I know it's a different sport.
Right, but same
for
concept.
basketball, right? Yeah, sometimes you have to win your one-on-ones. But the purpose of offense is to get two defenders to one guy so you have numbers somewhere else. That gives you a one-on-one or a slight numbers advantage somewhere else. It's kind of the same concept in football, at least if you break it down at times. Nebraska either is not creating enough of those one-on-one opportunities, or they are and guys just aren't winning them. And I don't know which one's scarier.
Yeah, I think the second one's scary.
If they're getting them and not winning them?
Yeah, if you're getting them and not winning them, because now you're relying on it, right? And I think it's like the RPO situation that, you know, everyone, you know, I do the YouTube sometimes and people say, you know, you need to talk about the RPOs. And it's like, well, we can talk about it, right? But at the bulk of it is, you have to block, right? And you have to do this. And when you throw it out to Fedoni, on the flat route, which I'm not really sure that, that's not really a specialty, right? You can get to other things like a bubble, different things like that. But Bonner has to block the nickel or the apex defender or safety down, like, and Ja'Cory on the outside has to block, or Nair out on the outside has to block, or Lloyd on the outside has to block. Those type of things need to happen. I think offensively, there's probably a lot more one-on-ones we're missing that we're not able to see all the time because, you don't really know the blocking scheme all the time. Like, if they're running inside zone, they might have a double here, and you don't really know that this guy needs to get up to the next level. But inside the confinements of, what we can see, there are a lot of one-on-one missed opportunities that you're banking on. And no pun intended, but you're banking on Banks to get open one-on-one, right? You're hoping that Ryla makes the right read in this situation, that the running back makes someone miss and presses a gap and does all these things. It's just a tough situation at the end of the day, and people need to find, or the players need to find out what it is that their one-on-one is. I used to love to go through the assignment or the play sheet and look, okay, we got trips right, Z spray, 64 X count or whatever it is. And now I'll be like, okay, on this, I used to write down my one-on-one is this. I have to win 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 this. So the whole play sheet, guess what? I know exactly what my job is. I know the adjustments. I know all these things. I would say the attention of detail isn't there, because then you will see guys playing a lot more confident, a lot more attentive, with a lot more effort. Because at the end of the day, if you don't know where you're going on the football field, you're going to play slow. And so when you know where you're going on the football field, things slow down for you, and you're able to play fast and execute at a higher level. I would question I would really question up to this point what I'm seeing is a little bit or a lot of bit of the preparation. But when you look at I'll tell you this, Austin, when a player doesn't execute, and this is the toughest statement, and I don't want to sound like one of them, but when a player doesn't execute, it reflects on the coach's preparation. They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. So when I see the receivers, it's a commonality in every game. When the receivers aren't executing, they're little things, right? The split, being off the ball. This and this. Tight end being off the ball in the skill game, receiving game. When I see that, I'm like, okay, well, who's directly in alignment with the passing game coordinator? Who's their coach? Who's this? And it's consistent across the board. And if you clean that up, now a quarterback who's kind of struggling, you help him out. At the end of the day, you help him out, right? And then it frees up the play caller as well. Now you can call a little bit more stuff.
I didn't mean to turn this into another offense conversation. It went that way, but I'm going to go back to the defense for some more one-on-ones that we're either seeing or not seeing. Ty Robinson, kind of an every other week guy right now. He's made an impact some weeks, not another week, but he was good today. A couple tackles for loss and a sack, good for him. Elsewhere along the defensive line, or even that jack position, MJ Sherman, I think, took another step in the right direction for him today, won some one-on-ones. Where's the sophomore breakout for Cam Lenhart? Where's the sophomore breakout for Princewell Uman-Mielen? And where is Nash Hutmaker? Those three guys, teams, again, maybe Nash is different because he's playing on the interior. His job's a little bit thankless, but he made some splash plays last year. If teams are leaving Princewell Uman-Mielen and Cam Lenhart in one-on-ones and they're not winning them, that's a bad sign. The other teams don't respect them enough to have to send two, that those guys aren't winning enough to make Nash and Ty's job easier, or Jamari as well.
Yeah, I think I will say this, and this is my honest opinion, Austin. I think what makes this D-line so great is also the kryptonite, is that you have all these bodies you can throw at them, but when you're edge rusher, if Princewell is rushing 4 times a game out of 10 snaps, right? There's no rhythm in there. And Princewell's a field guy, you can tell. Like, he wants to set up a spin move. He wants to set up an inside rush and bounce outside, stem a tackle down and work outside. So that's his type of game. And I think both those guys had a lot more opportunities last year. But specifically, and Nash as well, I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know how much the wrestling affected, or, I don't know about the weight issue. I don't know. That's obviously speculation, but I think Ty has taken a jump this year. I think he's, Ohio State, the announcement on the Big Ten, they were talking about him being the best player on the Ohio State game, right? And him causing a lot of problems. When you're turning the tape, he's glaring, right? He's always causing problems. I thought
in a good way.
Yeah.
For opposing offense.
Yes. Causing problems for the opposing offense, pushing guys back, being a disruptor. But when it comes to this D-line, you need guys like P-Will and Cam who get limited reps for when they come in to be dominant. But that's also a really tall task from a guy who's only played, his second year of college football and is used to getting a little bit more snaps, right?
And that's fair. I appreciate that explanation. And again, I don't want to call guys out if I'm wrong, right? If I'm wrong, put me in my place, tell me I'm wrong. But I think, like you said, it's the kryptonite because maybe Nebraska's raised the floor defensively, but the next step's to raise the ceiling. That's got to be the next step. And that's where, okay, Prince William Onmiela and Cam Lenhart, you might be getting just a few snaps. If you're a field guy, fine. But what about James Williams? Comes in a couple games ago and makes a big impact in limited snaps. He's not out there all the time.
Right.
That's maybe what's, I don't say disappointing because at least Nebraska had that for a couple games with James Williams. If he can do it, why can't these guys? That's kind of where I'm at with that. Last thing then, Chancellor, before we get out of here, another one-score loss. Wasn't trending that way. You mentioned the Indiana game, right? Kind of felt like it, at least in the first half. It was only 13-7. It gets to 27-7,
right?
At the worst point. I wonder how many fans wish that it would have continued in to be a blowout. It would have sucked, but then it may be easier to flush moving into a bye week because, okay, we were all off. We didn't learn. We coasted after Ohio State. We didn't have it. But there's obviously you never want to get blown out. It's embarrassing, especially by a 2-5 team at your home. But holy cow, to at the end of the day, be a touchdown and a 2-point conversion away, or a dumb freshman mistake that your quarterback wants back away from that being a tie game.
Yeah, that's right.
A blowout would have hurt. But I think it hurts in the same way as before, and where fans maybe aren't seeing progress. 5-3, the record's the same going into November. Lose the first game to a team that you think you have more talent than by one score. It's another one-score loss. It hurts. I almost wonder if a blowout would have been easier to swallow.
Yeah, as a player, you're probably thinking at the end of this, or going into the fourth quarter, like, man, we got this, right? We can do this. Or
because you're driving heading into the fourth.
You're driving, of course. But then, obviously a blowout. Now you look at the game, you're like, what the heck are we? There's so many holes. I mean, this, and this. Couldn't get this started, couldn't get this going. With this game, at least it felt like a blowout. I'll say that it felt like a blowout. I mean, going into halftime, it felt like a blowout. It felt like a game where you don't really have a control at any point. You're always fighting an uphill battle. But I don't know. I feel as if these type of games are what we need to overcome. So guess what? It's like it's like you always in life, right? You're going to get the same battle until you win it, right? And so right now, they're going to get the same battle. You're going to get the same one-score opportunity, 2-minute drive. I wouldn't be surprised if UFC, we play them close and there's a 2-minute drive at the end of the game with Wisconsin and Iowa, because the skill gap isn't like, it's not like we're playing Ohio State, right? We're going to be right there in those games. They're going to be dogfights as well. You're going to get more opportunities for this. And this exposes you and it hurts. Right, because you get 2 minutes and all of a sudden you see like, oh man, we have no tempo. Like we can't do this, we can't do this. But obviously, moving forward, I want the guys to figure it out. I want them to figure it out. But it's a lot harder just to say that, and it's a lot. The answers. There's so many questions. There's so many check marks that you have to do because week after week, it's a different question. It's a different issue. It's a different problem. So during this bye week, you kind of have to address all of them and say, okay, where are the ones that we need to fix now? Where are the ones that we need to do moving forward? And which ones are most important for SC?
Throw them up with me. Force, head to the fourth quarter of the season.
Yes, sir.
After a bye week. Nebraska 5-4. Lots to talk about over the bye week. We will be back to talk about it, Chancellor, 1 to 2 on Monday. I'm out on Monday. I'm going down to Monday Night Football. I'll be back on Tuesday. So Nick, Strick, and Harrison will hold it down for you during On the Block. It's been a blast. Well, kind of, sort of, not really. We talked through it a little bit. Thanks to Anderson Ford of Lincoln, Vinny Kreekak with State Farm, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Action AC, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical, Tavern 180, and Tanner's for their support. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Hi, this is State Senator Carolyn Bosson. Education is a cornerstone for strong, vibrant communities. I voted for the largest investment in education in Nebraska history. As a state senator, wife, and mom, I believe Nebraska is a great place to work and raise a family. My husband Reggie and I are local family business owners and understand the valuable role of education in growing our community. This is Carolyn Bosson, and I will continue to support education in the legislature. Vote Carolyn Bosson on November 5th. Paid for by Bosson for Legislature.
Hey guys, it's your girl Jordan from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. My grandpa Don always made sure that our diamonds are the most exceptional you could find in the world. That's why we're introducing our exclusive Heartland Diamond Collection. If you're ready to add some sparkle to your life that you can see from across the room, the Heartland Diamond is for you. Stop in to Sartor Heyman to see for yourself. Until next time, happy shopping, guys!
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Patriot Plumbing at 402-464-7411 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-464-7411.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring your friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Hurry,
This deal ends soon.
see Home Club for details.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Tanner's Bar and Grill is the best place in Lincoln for a casual get-together, best place to watch a game, and the best for pre- and post-game. Catch college and NFL football as well as the volleyball action this season at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. What's better than wings, cold beer, and a Husker win? Enjoy great food and drink specials every day and tons of TVs to catch all the action. Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal? A dog, a cat, or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.